What's up, sports fans? It's your man D back. Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. All right, check it out, man. We talking about
Alvarez, Canelo Alvarez, and Callum Smith. For the love of sports, let's talk about it. All right, so check this out, guys. Shout out to my man Wullieboy Slip and Move. All right. So appreciate that. I appreciate that, Remy 22. What's up with you, bro? Thanks for coming back in. But I want to give a shout out to my man Wullieboy Slip and Move. You know, Wullieboy hit me up and he brought this topic to my attention. What's up, sis? Appreciate you coming back through, Lisa. So, Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith may actually happen. We might be getting this fight. And you know, with Canelo, it doesn't really matter. It's a lot of names on the table, but this might be the fight. Cinco de Mayo, Mexican holiday. We might be getting this for the special. Callum Smith versus Canelo. Canelo chasing another belt at 168. But Joe Gallagher in an interview on Boxing Social, said that he talked to Reynoso, and that's the fight that Reynoso is pushing for. Now, he said that they talked about it and there was a verbal handshake. You know what I mean? He said also that they're not really interested in the BJS. So, and of course, guys, this is all allegedly because we see reports, we hear guys talking, we hear her say things, we hear a lot of guys say things until they announce a fight, But in this report, Gallagher's, he said he talked to Reynoso, and this is the fight that they want, which is huge because at least it gives us some indication of at what, in what direction Canelo is going to. So let me give y'all some shout outs. Remy, I already hollered at Remy in the building. My man Tim W in the building. Box the Monster back up in here. Lisa. Pure Maze, what's up, Maze? Appreciate you for coming through, brother. So yeah, man. Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure that they're gonna take that over to the UK. You know what I mean? That would probably be the smartest thing to do because Canelo gets some more exposure. It's not as if he doesn't have plenty because he has a lot of exposure, but just getting over there to the UK, that just even broadens Canelo's popularity. It just makes it even more, and that's a huge fight because Callum Smith has his own fan base over there in the UK. So definitely one that the Zone would like to get put on to help pay off some of that $35 million that they're going to have to pay Canelo for that fight. You know what I mean? They got to put Canelo in good fights, fan-friendly fights to make that money back that they, you know what I mean, that they have to pay him. And so going over to the UK to fight Callum Smith with that kind of fan base, I mean, that's a good move. It's a good move. It's definitely a good fight for Canelo. It's at 168. Nobody else, not too many are challenging themselves like that. We know we're going to hear a lot of hogwash and nonsense. What's up, Smoke in the building? Eva Gonzalez stepped in the building. My man Andre up in here. What's up? What's up? We know that we're going to hear what Andre said. Watch these guys. Right. I was just about to speak on that too, Andre. We know that we're going to hear that kind of stuff. Let me put that back up there. This is the kind of nonsense we're going to hear about it. I mean, for the love of sports, bro. They said that he was cherry picking Kovalev, a whole weight class up. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot to talk about this, especially since the performance that we seen Callum Smith have against John Ryder. And I think that John Ryder went in the gym and did some massive work. And it is somewhat of a combination of Callum Smith having a bad performance, but John Ryder having an excellent performance. I'm not going to take too much away from Callum Smith for one bad performance. That's the thing. Like, So many people are so critical on these fighters when they have a bad performance, but everybody has a bad day, bro. I have a bad day. You guys have a bad day. Like everything ain't gonna be squeaky clean, smooth every time. And again, styles make fights. Sometimes certain fighters just dominate against most of their opponents and they beating everyone up. They just run into this particular fighter that they have issues with. And I'm not saying that that's the case with John Ryder and Callum Smith, but we just never know. It could be the case. Could have been the case with Errol Spence and Sean Porter, Charlo and Harrison. You never know. You never know. Islam Lara gave Canelo a hell of a fight, hell of a time. So sometimes these fighters they just have this style that is just not a good matchup for, the more established guy, the guy that has more accomplishments and accolades. And you wouldn't expect them to come in there and put on a fight like that, give this guy trouble. What you expect is for Callum Smith to go in there and pretty much cleanly wash John Ryder. And that's not what happened. And so because that did not happen, he didn't have that spectacular performance against John Ryder. You have everybody calling this, a cherry pick by Canelo. The funny thing to me is that as these guys call it a cherry pick by Canelo, some of these people were the same one boosting up Callum Smith. And then it wasn't until Canelo went up there at 175 and stopped Kovalev, now all of a sudden it's a cherry pick. And we're going to hear that. We're going to hear more than cherry pick. We're definitely going to hear that Canelo is just ducking Charlo so that he could go fight Callum Smith, which is a much more important fight at this point. At least it is to me. I don't, Charlo's not important to me for Canelo. Because Canelo's in like the Lomachenko situation as far as the belts are concerned. Charlo needs Canelo. He doesn't need Charlo. Canelo was the one that won that belt, you idiot. They gave it to you. But Canelo won it. So, he doesn't need him. Like, he got the franchise championship tag, so he's a WBC champion. Going to get all the belts, Canelo just he can do what he wants. Charlo need to sit to the side. Charlo need to fight one of those other champions and unify. Then that gives Canelo incentive and motive to come fight this easy work, basically. Because that's what it's going to be. Easy work. That's right, Charlo fans. Easy work. Canelo, I love my wife. She just bought me Boston baked beans. And if y'all don't know about this, I've been eating these candies since I was 6. Thanks, man. So, look, man. Let me put this link in the chat too, bro. If anybody want to come, I don't know if I put it in there already, but put it back in there. So Canelo Alvarez and Callum Smith, massive, bro. Like, look at. I just did a short live. It was about Josh Taylor, but we ended 2019 with hella 5 fights. Look at how the year is starting off. Just the things that we have coming already. Now these moves are being made, so it appears that at least this year will start off better than last year did. Because the first half of last year sucked. You know what I mean? We had to wait until the second half of that year before we started getting excited like every weekend for some good action. This year's starting off good, man, already. And we probably have a lot more announcements to come. Charlo dropped Spence in training. Spence fanboys going crazy. Yeah, that's the rumor. Got a video? You know how people talk, man. It's funny how they never let a lot of stuff out about sparring rumors, and then something this big, like Spence wouldn't even come out and talk but for so long. We couldn't even get him to talk to us, just to say what's really going on. But now all of a sudden him getting dropped is leaked everywhere. Like, man, please. I don't just like I said about the whole Andy Ruiz situation when they kept talking about the weight. I'm like, bro, I don't believe that. I'm not believing all of this stuff I hear over the media. That's why I started this video off here with allegedly, because that was Joey Gallagher saying what he was told by Reynoso. I can't really prove that, so I'm not going to act like it happened. It was the same thing with Spence getting dropped. It makes sense, though. It definitely makes sense that Spence got dropped in sparring against Charlo because, bro, like, you just got ejected from a car. This is why you need to slow your roll talking about going to fight Danny or Crawford or Manny. Because if you're getting dropped by Charlo, which he never dropped you before, you're gonna face a whole lot of obstacles, bro. You better see how that body is feeling. Make sure you healthy enough to go fight a damn Crawford or even a Manny Pacquiao, because Manny ain't gonna be no slouch in there. He's gonna try to take Spencer's head off. Samuel Shaw said Boston baked beans was the shit. I know, bro. I still can't stop eating these things, bro. I love Boston baked beans. Go back and tell them it's not working. Got peanuts inside the candy shit. Hell yeah, man. One of my favorites. Martin Ramos, thanks for coming back through. Let me say, Tim W. Ambien only got me high, not sleepy. THC edibles. Yeah. Yeah, THC edibles, boy, I went to Colorado. My oldest daughter graduated high school. They were living out in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and they had legalized weed there and everything. First time I had edibles. And I went to eating them like, it was regular candy. My dog was like, Dad, slow down, Dad, slow down. I was like, girl, I've been smoking weed before you was born. Chill out. I'm good. No, I won't. I got back to her house and slammed the fuck out. Man, that shit had me so high and sleepy. I just was gone for about 2.5 hours. As soon as we hit the door, I sat back on the couch. Z's, baby. Those edibles ain't no joke. Different kind of feeling, but ain't no joke, man. Samuel, hell yeah. I will at least try some edibles for the first time last week. I need a higher potency. Yeah. Yeah, they got a higher potency for you too, Tim. They got whatever you need. What are you talking about, Monster Mosquito Bites fanboy? Whatever, man. Whatever, dog. Spence. I want no fanboy with that shit. With what I said about Spence. Spence need to chill. And I said it's possible. It makes sense that he got dropped. Like, the fanboys is mad about that. They out there, I already heard some of the videos about it. Calling people stupid for believing it and all of that. It makes sense, bro. The dude just got out of a car accident. At one side, they want to boost Jermell Charlo up. Like, I told you he was going to knock out Harrison. Charlo's Lions den. Then when we say he dropped Spence in sparring, they don't want to believe it. You see what I mean? That's because they're a bigger fanboy of Spence than they are of Charlo. They're fanboys of both of them, but they're a bigger Spence fanboy. So they don't want to believe that. Oh, no, that's a lie. You can't believe what you hear on social media. Yeah, whatever. So why should we believe you? You know what I mean? Tim Fire. All right, get this smoke to which Charlo? Spence been sparring these guys. He ain't sparring Jamal Charlo in a minute. He only been sparring Jamel. They've been in the same camp. Jamal and Spence said that they don't do a lot of training together. Both of them said this on different occasions, Smoke. So can that shit, bro. It was Jamel Charlo, the smaller one. Big Charlo said he don't spar with them. You know, he in his own camp anyway. They're in different camps. So just because they affiliated don't mean they in the gym together. Iron Kong in the building. What's good, Iron Kong? I got the link in the chat, Iron Kong, if you want to jump up here. I could put it back in there if you need me to. Colorado got that good. Hell yeah, bro. I'm telling you. I was there for about a week. And I was high the whole time. At the graduation and everything. I was just living. Cause I mean, like, dog, you know, I'm coming from back then a state, because they legalizing it here too, but back then I was coming from a state where it wasn't legal. So I was like a kid in a fucking candy store. I was happy as hell, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Calling salute, fam. Calling salute, brother. Andre said, it's his first time back sparring. Who knows how many times Spence been dropped? Yeah, right. Right. And that's what I'm saying, Andre. Like, usually people don't talk about this, right? Like, they don't really talk about sparring wars. For a long time, you know, the Spence Floyd story. Spence never really confirmed everything that happened in that. You know what I mean? The only reason he came out with the Adrian Broner situation, because Broner started popping off at the mouth. But usually these guys, especially when they stable mates and they cool with each other, they don't usually put that kind of information out there like that, man. You hear that in rumors. And then so many times we found out that what you hear in sparring is just not true. So I'm not saying that it can't be true, because again, it makes sense. It makes sense after what Spence just went through. But I ain't gonna put 100% faith into that shit. Like, it's definitely true. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like Smoke always say, we don't know, you don't know. That's his favorite. That's his go-to thing. You can't prove that. California still leading the pack. Oh, hell yeah. Easy, bro. But Mendocino County been legal for so long. Get this Smoke. They leading the pack in everything. You know what I mean? So, like I said, Mendocino County been legal and illegal for so long. I watched this documentary where they had the Mexican cartels running trench lines, little tubes, 2.5 miles into the forest to stay from the police, and had massive grows going. And the police said they had them spread out so many different places that they couldn't burn enough of them to stop them, bro. So it's got weed everywhere. Like, California been killing it on the herb, bro. I mean, they've been killing it. And they still are. I mean, I watched another documentary. Like, a lot of people think that our weed come from Mexico and this, that, and third. And it was the feds. They was like, hell no, 75% of all the herb in this country comes right out of California. So they got to be leading the way. My man Iron Cone in the building. What good, Iron Cone?
What's up, B. Jefferson? How you doing? What's up to the chat? Peace, Samuel Shaw, Lisa Bales, all the people, all the family. What up, man?
Yeah. So this ain't no damn baby cat. See, Marcy, you don't know nothing, bro. This nigga always popping jokes. Listen, man. See, I'm what they call a sports connoisseur, Monster. So I'm going to teach you something here. This, my friend, is a racing hat. And the brim is elongated because when you out there on the track, and I was at, you know, I'm from Richmond, Virginia, so I used to go to Richmond International Speedway. Yes, I'm a NASCAR fan. But when you out there on the track, you need the brim to be elongated because the sun comes at every angle. So you need to block the sun out your eyes. That's why you see those white boys with their shit curled up and it's all the way out to there. That's why. So this, my friend, you see that? M&M Racing, the number 18 car. Teach you something here. What do you think about this Canelo shit, Iron Cone?
No, we have to acknowledge Boxing Monster. He said you got on a baby medium-sized wife. Peter.
Right.
We have to acknowledge that. Just not trying.
This nigga, man, he always popping jokes, man. He been popping jokes on me since he been in here.
Boy. What up, man?
Just living, bro. Just living, feeling good. Stevie DeRosa, what's good? Well, so Callum Smith, how much truth, like, first and foremost, like, Joe Gallagher said that he talked to Reynoso. Reynoso came over, you know, and Callum Smith was right there. So he congratulated Callum Smith on the win. This was during the Ryder situation. Right. And then they just started discussing things. And then, so he says Reynoso told him basically that he wants Callum Smith in that other corner come May. May, Cinco de Mayo, you know what I mean? He wants Callum Smith to be the opponent for Canelo. And then Gallagher also said that he asked him about BJS, and he said that they're not really interested in that fight. So, what you think, man? You think it's some truth to that? I mean, we knew that Callum Smith was on the table, right? Like everybody knew that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense, right? I mean, I think last night me and 1-2 Kid were actually, because 1-2 Kid has been saying it's Callum Smith. He's the one who Canelo's going to pick on. I mean, he looked like crap against Ryder, and it's going to be Callum Smith, right? So it makes perfect sense. All Matchroom seems to have all the fights for Canelo at the moment. At middleweight, at super middleweight, Matchroom has all the fights. So it makes a lot of sense. He's the biggest name from the UK that Matchroom has in that weight class. Billy Joe Saunders is not a super middleweight. He is a middleweight. He's a fat super middleweight, and he needs to let that belt go. So it makes a lot of sense. I don't want to see. I would prefer to see Billy Joe Saunders fight Canelo at middleweight, not super middleweight. So it makes a lot of sense. Callum Smith needs a big fight, and it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, he left middleweight a little bit after the doping shit, and then he kind of got, I guess, lazy on the suspension. That's why he came back at 168. But yeah, man, it makes perfect sense to me, and it definitely could happen. You know what I mean? We know that. If any boxer in boxing says, well, I do what I want to do, it's probably Canelo. I'll say Canelo and Pacquiao. Like, they're going to do what they want to do. You know what I mean? Like, you can believe them. You can believe them if they say, well, I'm going to do this. There's no Oscar behind them. Canelo will tell Oscar to go fuck himself quick. And we all know that. You know what I mean? Everybody knows that. So the fight could definitely happen. When I put a video up not too long ago about, who his next opponent would be. And when we ran down the names, they said he's not going to campaign at 175. So fans could get their mind out of that, thinking about him campaigning at 175. So I was like, bro, it's going to be someone at 168 because they are still in talks. And Joe Gallagher mentioned this too about going back down to 160. A lot of people don't think that he's going down to 160. But I've been saying this, that he will be. I was saying, like, he never planned on campaigning at 175. This was just a move to capture a belt in another division. It wasn't for him to go up there and campaign at 175 and, clean out the division. So I've been saying that to get back to 160, he's going to have to transition down, not just drop from 175 to 160. That wouldn't be smart or healthy for him, and it would probably drain the hell out of him. And he could potentially get beat. But going to 168 and then moving back down to 160, that's a gradual movement, bro. And he could still beat those guys. Like, he'll still beat Charlo. I definitely think that he'll beat GGG for the third time because when these fighters get in to the ring with each other more than once, you know what I mean? They kind of start to figure each other out. And when you talk about someone figuring something out who has the highest ring IQ, better, that's all going to favor Canelo. So I don't see GGG beating him in the third fight, right? So look, man, 168. David Benavidez, dangerous fight. Caleb Plant, dangerous fight. So the best fight for him is Callum Smith, and I don't think BJS, it might bring just less interest, or I don't know, they might be even. What you think about that? The interest in them between BJS and Callum Smith
is the bigger fight on that side because World Boxing Super Series winner,
right.
All this goes along with it. He's been campaigning at super middleweight for a longer time. He has a much bigger UK fan base than Billy Joe Saunders.
Right.
I mean, it'll be a perfect fight for Canelo. Canelo's looking at it like he might be the softest. Well, not the softest one. I think the softest one is Billy Joe Saunders at super middleweight. But in terms of Callum Smith, Caleb Plant, and Benavidez, that's 1, 2, and 3 in terms of Benavidez, Plant, Callum Smith.
Right, I'm with you there too.
And it's easier to fight Callum Smith because you're on, DAZN, Sky, Eddie Hearn, all of that.
Right.
It's easy to fight him. He has more going for him. He has a fan base in the UK who will tune into the fight or will travel to the fight. Because if you fight Billy Joe Saunders, who's gonna come? Yeah, I mean, Billy Joe don't really have a huge fan base. People will travel to come support Callum Smith, and they're gonna come. So I think Canelo also realizes that he wants to expand his international base. The UK is a place that he's talked about. He wants to fight. This fight's not gonna be in the UK. It's probably gonna be in Las Vegas, but he's gonna get that look from Sky Sports and all of that. So, yeah.
I think they should make it in the UK. Because I don't care where Canelo goes, you ain't gonna beat that man on the card. You can fight him in Timbuktu. He gonna have some judges down there that goddamn you're not gonna get no robbery over Canelo. So it ain't even no worries about that. I think he should do it in the UK. I mean, look, with Joshua making his moves and fighting in Saudi Arabia, talking about coming back to the US, you know what I mean? Look, bro. Joshua on his heels. I still say Joshua nipping at his heels. You know what I mean? Canelo got to get that some more global star power. He's already a global star, but fighting in the UK.
Let me ask you something. Why haven't Canelo or one of these guys fought in Azteca in Mexico? How come?
Your question is as good as mine, bro.
I mean, that's like
it will sell out. It will sell out. Fucking. I'm not sure, bro. I mean, you know how these business decision goes, man. Like favor could be involved in it too. Like, he get a lot of favor from these corporate giants in the States. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Like the politics is all over the place. And I speak on it and talk about it, but I'm not even gonna sit here and begin to act like I'm as much informed about the politics of this shit.
Well, I agree. I mean, I would love to see him fight in the UK. That would be great because at this point, he's doing things now just to have shit ticked off in a box. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's just ticking shit off. So why not take it to the UK? I know they wanted to fight at Anfield in Liverpool, I think. Anfield holds like I think 50-something thousand people. If Canelo and Callum Smith fight in Anfield, it's gonna be packed. So it's not like Canelo has to depend on pay-per-view or his money is secured. He's gonna get his money. He's already signed up. His money is secured. I mean,
yeah, right. Every fight, like he getting his crack every fight.
Right.
Now in the building, what's good with you right now? I see you. Pablo Magdaleno in the building. What's good, Pablo? Thanks for coming through. Pablo says Callum Smith is a dangerous fight. Yeah. I mean, like I was just saying that before Iron Cone jumped on. My brother DT3. What's up, DT3? Boom, man. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to him if you're not. But yeah, Pablo, I was saying that too, man. Like fans put too much attention into one bad fight, bro. Like every athlete in every sport has a bad day, period. I don't care what sport it is. You got to realize golfers, tennis players, football players, but every athlete has a bad day. UFC fighters. You can't put but so much weight on one fight. He had a bad performance in that fight against Ryder. There's no arguing that. And Ryder had a great performance. But you can't put all the weight on that one fight. He is still a good fight for Canelo. I mean, I'm with Pablo on that.
What is Smoke talking about? Azteca is primarily for guys who can't make it in America. What are you talking about, bro?
No, Smoke. Jump up here, Smoke, and explain that.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
He ain't even trying to decipher that, man. He got a link, Smoke. I know you itching to come up here and talk anyway, nigga. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know what's Smoke, but see, that's one of those things too, bro, where I can't really. You probably got more for him than that because I don't get into that. You know, one thing that I don't claim to know much about or get into debates with people when it comes to the politics of this thing, the trainers and promoters. I'll get in the debate with someone if I've like researched the topic or something. But bro, I'm not even all up on that stuff. Come to these venues and shit like that. Like
I'm just because I've never heard of a huge. That's just me. I've never heard of it. and the biggest star in boxing in North America, Central, South America, whatever, is Canelo Alvarez. And I don't think I've ever heard him box in Azteca. Whereas you find Anthony Joshua, he has boxed in Wembley Stadium, and that's the biggest stadium you could possibly box in England, and he packed it out.
Right.
So I only asked that because, you know, Azteca Stadium, Callum Smith, why not? I mean, if you're taking boxes off,
right. And it's so big, like the stadium is so big. Like, why wouldn't he fight there, bro? That's like mega dollars. You pack that, the ticket sales, you know what I mean? You pack that stadium plus the pay-per-view will be off the chain. Like, you're right, bro. Like Pablo said, yeah, fans were saying he will never fight him because he's too dangerous. Well, you know how that goes. You know, those are probably Canelo haters and extreme Callum Smith fans, but I've heard it before, Pablo. So this is not the first time I heard that. So, you know, but fans say anything. But if you go up 2 weight classes and fight Kovalev, what the hell would you be afraid to fight Callum Smith for? You know what I mean? Like, that don't make sense. Alba Hauser says Aztec Stadium is one of the largest stadiums in the world. Yeah, that's what I was saying too, bro. Like, that stadium's so fucking big. Like, why wouldn't he fight there? That I don't know.
87,000 people, like 87,000 people.
It's huge. It's freaking huge.
So no, I was just wondering why it didn't happen, but never mind. So anyway, Callum Smith, right? So I like the fight personally. 1-2 Kid does not like. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but 1-2 Kid is not high in Callum Smith at all, yeah. And I understand why, because Callum Smith does not have really any big fights under his belt. His biggest fight was George Groves, right? But then that's not really his fault because his whole division, and I did a stream on this, the whole super middleweight division, they're not fighting each other. They're not unifying, and I don't understand why. Because you have 2 belts owned by Matchroom, 2 belts owned by PBC. None of the 4 of them are unifying. I don't understand.
Yeah. Sort of like what's going on at 147. Hey, so Smoke, what are you talking about? The Aztec situation, whatever you were saying. Break that down, bro.
I was.
I
mean, it's whatever.
Nah,
You can look it up. Hey, what's up, everybody? So Azteca is a Mexican TV station that just started putting on fights. It's like mostly fights out of Mexico. That's it. That's what I meant.
Well, we talk about the venue though, bro.
He's saying why is it not on Azteca? It's because Azteca is
the venue, bro. We talking about
boxing. Why isn't it? Because the tickets are like 50 pesos. You're not gonna make any money. Everybody's gonna go there.
Yeah, but Canelo's money is secured.
I mean, that's fine that Canelo's money is secure, but I mean, also they're still trying to make money. It's not like it's a Canelo event. Canelo signed to Golden Boy. Golden Boy's trying to make money.
And DAZN's trying to make money too, so you got a point there.
Good point.
Wouldn't they not increase the ticket sales for that fight
in Mexico? I mean, to what? It's still the Mexican economy, and it's still. Hold on. I mean, let me explain to you guys what like these stadiums are like and what they're used to paying. It's not like these air conditioning. You have an economy that's already ingrained in there. You don't go in and start charging unlimited prices like Canelo major fight prices for Azteca Stadium like that. Why? They're not air conditioned. They're trough bathrooms. It's hot as shit. Like,
how you know? You've been there?
Have I been? I've been to Mexico. I haven't been to that specific
stadium.
Been to
the fucking stadium.
No. Like I said, I've been to a stadium in Mexico, not to that one. But does that mean I don't know what the stadium is like? I haven't been to Cowboy Stadium, but I know what it's like.
You don't know what it's like. You ain't never been there.
Okay.
How can you prove that?
Okay, cool. Because people have been, because plenty of people have been there. Because plenty of people have been there, and I've seen plenty of footage from it.
But it's open air though. It's an open air stadium. Why would it be air conditioned?
See, that's the most effective question. How do you know? See, that's what you like to do, Smoke. You can't prove none of that shit. As far as what you say right now is hearsay.
That's the dumb.
Okay, even if I've been,
that's like saying you know what pussy feel like.
Wait. Hold on a second. you're trying to tell me that you can't tell what a place is like unless you've been there personally. That nobody else has been there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well
Yes.
then fine. If since I haven't been there personally, I can't tell you personally what it is like.
All
However,
right, so
I can tell.
shut up
That's
then.
it. And so now can we move on? That's why it's not at Azteca.
I'm just saying. Well, that's why you think it's not at Azteca. Because
okay, great. That's why I think it's not Azteca. That's what I just said. Okay, great. Awesome.
So speak on what you know. Don't speak on what you don't know, bro.
What I did was give my opinion about why it's not there. That is my opinion about when it's not there. Okay.
Right. What's up?
I don't know what you guys are.
We don't deal with too much opinions. We deal in the realm of facts. So
okay.
get your facts up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You said just like you said. It's for a fact that AJ made $85 million, right? That was your facts.
Get him, Small.
Get him. Don't let him get away with that.
Talk to him.
E3. No, hold on. Before we get into that, bro.
I'm talking about this IBO bullshit. Talking about because the WBC and the WBA, they don't respect them. So what if they don't respect them? It's still a prestigious belt. You still have Hall of Famers that have carried the belt, that have held the belt. It's the only sanctioning body in boxing that has one belt per weight class. Every other weight class got the super, the interim, and all the diamonds and the Mayan belt, all that bullshit. The IBO is the only nonprofit organization that has one belt per division. So if you have the IBO belt, you are the IBO champion. Not no interim shit, not no super, not no diamond, none of that shit. So for you to shit on the IBO, bro, is some bullshit. You should give IBO just as much respect as you give the other sanctioning bodies because that belt matters too. You can't be undisputed without the IBO belt.
Okay. All right.
Real quick.
Okay. So first, okay.
Hold on right quick. Hashman boxing in the building. What's good with you, Hashman? I just dropped the link down there a couple of times if you want to come up here and get in on this. I got Aobs in the building. Aobs just stepped up in the building. What's good with you? And my man, darkness has fallen up in here. I buy houses up in the building. What's up, fellas? Go ahead, Smoke. Go ahead, dog.
Yeah, I was. I don't think it's a part about whether or not they respect them or not. They just don't recognize them as a sanctioning body. So when you're talking about guys being multi-division champs in a weight in a division in the history of boxing, is what you're talking about is recognized sanctioning bodies, and that's what I was talking about. The IBO is not a recognized sanctioning body. And then your big thing about the sanctioning bodies not being legit in the first place was that they don't enforce mandatories and all this stuff. Well, the IBO doesn't have any mandatories. So how are you going to beat shit on one sanctioning body for not enforcing mandatories, but then exalt another organization that doesn't even have mandatories in the first place?
Who said I did that? I'm talking about the IBO. I was just talking about how you should do the IBO.
Yes.
I'm talking about. Don't try to flip this shit, bro. I know your game. I know your game. You like to flip game. I ain't with that bullshit. Get out of here with that. You shitting on the IBO. I asked you about the IBO. I didn't ask you about that other bullshit you trying to flip. Take responsibility like a man. Grab your nuts and admit that you shitted on the IBO.
Okay.
Shut that shit up.
Okay, what I said was Manny Pacquiao is not an 8th division champ because the IBO is not a officially recognized sanctioning body. That's what I said.
So it's not a respectable belt? Man, you can shut your ass up. Get the fuck up out of here with that shit. The IBO is a world title. It's the only belt in boxing that has the belt in every fucking weight class. And when you win that belt, it's the world title. It's not an interim. It's not a super. It's not a fucking diamond belt. It is a world title. Whether your stupid ass want to believe that shit or not, it's still a world title. And just because you don't want to credit Manny Pacquiao for being an 8th division champ, because that goes in history. You don't determine history. So shut that shit up. I don't want to hear that shit.
Okay, so we went from facts to you screaming your opinion. Cool.
Facts, bro.
Because no matter how passionate you are about it, doesn't make it any less the fact that I
don't hear that shit. I ain't hear that shit. I know your game. You just flipping the shit. I ain't got time for that.
Okay, no, I know what I'm talking about is facts. Well, all you doing is screaming. You just screaming. You screaming about me and about the IBO.
Hold, guys. Hold on for a second. before we go.
My bad, D.
It's just a little too early in the stream. I like this shit really, but it's just a little bit too early in the stream for it. Let's wait about 40, 50 minutes or so. We only 39 minutes in. But look, no. 1-2 Kid just stepped in the building. What's up, 1-2 Kid? I dropped the link. My man Rocket Strike just stepped up here. What's good with you, Rocket Strike?
What's good, Stumpy Slim? What's going on with y'all, man?
Same.
My nigga.
You know
What's up, Boom, man? What's up with you, cuz?
Smoke, where you go? Smoke, you ain't got to get off.
Where y'all at?
Iron
Get
Cone.
bring your ass back up in here so I can roast your whole ass.
What's up, Iron Cone? Man, damn, bro. Niggas got their coffee. God damn. Niggas hype around this motherfucker, ain't they?
That's what I said. I said, damn, it's early in the spring for that.
Yeah. This shit turned up quick, boy. What is this?
Boom man been smoking on them fat ass blunts.
Hey, my man Hashman step up here. But look, guys,
you said
Hashman boxing in the building. What's up, Hashman? What's good with
you? Shit, I ain't had a blunt in 3 days, nigga.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Okay. That explains it. That explains it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that explains it, because I was about to say, sucks to be you, dude.
I'm trying to get in shape, bro. Back in shape so I can in April, bro. I ain't fucking around, bro.
Hey, ain't you out in Cali, right, Boom?
Yeah, I'm in Cali.
Y'all got edibles out there, man. You better go get you something to eat, nigga.
Nah, I'm cool, bro. I'm trying to be straight, clean, nigga. I've been drinking water, nigga, eating vegetables, nigga. Fuck all that. I'm trying to be straight, bro.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, bro. Justin Trouble in the building. What's good with you, Justin? My man Tommy Temper, Goose and Gander just stepped in the building. So, Hashman, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you guys doing?
All right, man. How you doing, bro? Thanks for coming on. So, look, I'm gonna start this off. I want to start off another topic. You know, we always talk about the main topic, which was the Canelo situation, but I just put a video out about this before I started this live up. The Josh Taylor signing with Top Rank. Man, that shit is huge, bro. And Bob Arum and Top Rank over there making moves. This could potentially be hold on, I think who's that? Oh, Flipman. This could potentially be 4 champions, 4 belt undisputed. All at Top Rank, bro. Because Terrence Crawford did it already. Monster Anui has a chance to do it. Lomachenko has a chance to do it. And now that Josh Taylor just signed over there, he has a chance to do it. That means 4 guys. 4. That's just crazy.
That's good, man.
And down. That's
yeah,
crazy.
hell yeah. That's real good, bro.
Get this smoke. What do you got to say about this? Let's get your opinion on this one first. You there? I know you there, nigga. You just clicked back in.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Always the controversial. So what do you think about that?
Good. What I hear?
Yeah,
what
we
I
can
think
hear
about what? I don't think I heard what the topic.
Top Rank by signing Josh Taylor has a chance now to have 4 champions to go 4 belt undisputed. That's great. That's huge. That's massive. I just wanted to get your opinion on it. What's up, Craig Smith?
Top Rank has some of the best fighters in the world over there. You know.
All right, so nice and simple and sweet. No controversy. All right, Rocket Strike, bro. What you think about that, dog? Rocket Strike, you there?
Hey, give me 1 second, bro. All right, hold on.
Give me
1 second. Give me for 1 second.
Speak on that, bro. Speak on that while Rocket Strike taking this time. And the Josh Taylor move.
There ain't much to say, man. I mean, I think it just speaks to, you know, these fighters having a taste for legacy. These fighters want to be great. Yeah, and I think it shines a stark light on other people who are not trying to be great. Other people want to be famous. They don't want to be great. And I think it's a wonderful thing when you got fighters that still want to do the correct thing in boxing and be the undisputed champion of the world. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, man. I think so.
I mean, just to you know, put that in context. We do have other champs at 140 and like cruiserweight, and that's part of the thing about this whole thing because they're, you know, in between weights and not, you know, the traditional money making weights. Then you that's where you tend to see the unifications more.
Well, yeah.
My fault, fellas. Yeah, I got the little rugrats running around and shit. But Josh Taylor, that's a good one. That's a good one, bro. Because you know what I mean. He get to fight for ESPN and shit, and you know what I mean. He get to get it be able to be exploited in the not exploited, but be out there in the masses in front of the U.S. crowd and shit. So you know what I mean. That's real good, man. And he's a good fighter, man. I already know he's gonna make it. You know what I mean. So
wait, I'm just catching on. Sorry, Josh Taylor signed with Top Rank?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Wow.
Yeah. And so that's gonna be easy for them to make that shit biz. I see, bro. That's gonna be easy for them to make that Jose Ramirez matchup, bro. Like, bro, 4-belt undisputed. Lomachenko's just about set in stone. You know what I mean?
They were talking about not to cut you off, D, but do you know what they was talking about with the Josh Taylor fighting Ramirez, and the winner of that will be undisputed, and they will end up getting a super fight with Terrence Crawford?
Yeah, I spoke about that on the video.
So it looked like it's happening.
Bro, and then imagine the money of that fight, because you have now two guys that have went 4-belt undisputed in the ring. I don't give a fuck if you like them or not, bro. That's a huge fight.
You gotta respect game.
That's going to be all organized by Top Rank. Now, we got to keep in mind that all these motherfuckers got to win. You know what I'm saying? Anui has to win. And as a matter of fact, Anui is already in line to – who was that beat Tete? Damn, I can't remember his name. Casemiro. He's been in talks. Shout out to my man Bias, ran this by me. He's been in talks already with Casemiro. So he's not dangerous. But I do think that Anui, I don't think that his unification would probably happen until 21. But you could possibly get 2 this year, Loma and Taylor, and then right behind that in 21, you get another one. So
that's good for Top Rank.
I think Anui needs to do first.
I
think Anui needs to take care of his mandatory first.
Yeah, right. That's why it kind of pushes that situation back. You know what I mean? And with the way these guys are not fighting, it's not like the old days where they taking on 5 and 6 fights a year. You know what I mean? You'd be lucky to see these champions get in 3 fights a year.
Can I ask the panel something? What do y'all think is going to happen when Terrence Crawford fights the winner of Taylor Ramirez? With the PBC fighters are not legacy fighters. They basically fight for just fame and whatnot. What do you think is going to say about PBC? Because Top Rank evidently has fighters that fight for legacy. Matchroom, DAZN, they have fighters that fight for legacy. PBC is obviously, we all know, has fighters that do not fight for legacy. They only fight once a year, and they really just fighting for fame. They ain't fighting for legacy. So do you think this is going to basically expose PBC this year?
Let me tell you something. I think it's less of a situation of exposing them and more of a situation as putting flame under their ass to get up and do more. Because you can't expose a network that is as much trash as the PBC is now. Like, the secret's out about the motherfuckers. There's nothing to uncover. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows they full of shit right now. So it will put fire under their ass to like do more. Now y'all got to do more, or y'all just gonna be sitting over there with a bunch of paper champions. You know what I'm saying? That's just my take on. That's how I see it. Somebody else can take off on Smoke. What's your idea on that? Fuck the PBC boys.
Sorry, my idea on the PBC regarding what?
With Top Rank and DAZN and Matchroom having more fighters that are legacy-based fighters versus PBC fighters are more into fame and money. They're not into it for legacy. And we already know that pretty much every boxer is rich, pretty much. They're all rich, pretty much. It's not like they broke or they won for nothing. But the PBC side, mainly, they fight for just fame and money. It's not about legacy. That's why they only fight once a year, in my opinion, as far as them fight once a year. But Top Rank has Inoue, legacy fighter, Josh Taylor, legacy fighter. A lot of the fighters on Matchroom and DAZN are legacy fighters. You don't see any PBC fighters really trying to push to build a legacy. So do you think that with Top Rank signing these legacy fighters, Matchroom having the most legacy fighters, do you think that's going to expose the PBC side for what they're doing in the sport of boxing?
All right, so there's a lot to unpack there. First, you have to distinguish what's the difference between a money fight and a legacy fight, because money is part of your legacy, whether you're making it or you're not making it. And also,
Sounds
it
dumb.
depends.
Oh, let me
And
talk, let me talk.
also, um, when you have these in between these smaller weights that don't have money in them, all you really going to have pretty much is legacy fights. And as far as the difference between Top Rank and PBC or whatever, there's just glory divisions, and PBC happen to have guys in the glory division that are fighting for money and legacy. It, I think Top Rank does too. I don't think that there's a difference in terms of that. I don't think that they're more altruistic at Top Rank or the Zone or somewhere else. I think that they're prize fighters. They go where the market dictates.
All right. Well, let me say this, because I knew for some reason that whole idea would be watered down by you, Smoke. Because see, here's the thing. I knew that, y'all. And I'm not even trying to fuck with you right now, Smoke. But I just knew, however you would come at that situation, it would be watered down. Because here's the thing: if this same situation was going on at the PBC, please, bro, that shit would not be watered down.
What situation?
This situation with the fact of what Boone was just talking about, they're building legacy fighters. Okay, PBC ain't building no damn legacy fighters, bro. Period. And so,
what do you mean by legacy? What do you mean by legacy? What do you mean? I don't know what you. What are you trying to say? What's a legacy fighter?
If you zip your lips and listen, you might get your answer. So let me continue this, bro. There is a big difference, between fighting for legacy and fighting for money. Because sometimes when these guys go out and fight a named opponent, they're not going to get big money off of it. But they're fighting these named opponents so that they can build their legacy. Just like, say, if a Charlo goes and fight a damn Dennis Hogan versus going to fight a Deverenchenko. Now, neither of these guys are going to bring a big bank, but concerning the legacy on it, it's going to make a difference. So what Boone is saying is these guys are taking the right fights, basically, and it's leading them to getting these unifications because they deserve it, because they building their legacy, and then they're also in the process building their stock and their attention from the fans to the sport. When you fight guys like Dennis Hogan on your first title defense, you're not building no damn legacy. So you're not building up to where you fight this other champion. Like, let's take a look at Demetrius Andre fighting Carlo. That fight is no fucking super huge mega fight. It's a fight that everybody want to see because it's been talked about so much. But neither of these guys are big draws. But when you start talking about guys fighting the right opponents, achieving legacy, like Josh Taylor, 4-belt undisputed, versus Terrence Crawford, 4-belt undisputed. See, that's the difference in what Boone is talking about. So he's saying, right, in this situation, is this one of those things that's going to, as I say, put fire under the PBC as to stop all of this like Tank Davis type foolishness? You know what I mean? And Charlo, first defense against Hogan. Is it going to stop that foolishness? Because I say it'll put fire under their ass. Or is it going to expose them for the foolishness they're doing?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you, do you consider Manny Pacquiao a PBC fighter?
He is a PBC fighter. He signed under PBC, right?
Yeah. Okay. So with him calling out Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, would you say that is about his legacy, or is that about his money? Or is it both?
It's about his legacy, but as I just explained to you, these are also fighters who are already established, who have already done things. When the hell has Charlo unified? When the hell has Demetrius Andre unified? Well, if I'm not mistaken, Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence have unified. And to take that back even further, Manny Pacquiao, don't do that. Yes, Manny Pacquiao is a PBC fighter, but more or less a PBC fighter that's been contracted. Because one more fight, he's out of there. So let's not put the great Manny Pacquiao and his very short time at PBC and put it on like it's a part of their model. Manny Pacquiao's outside of their model and the bullshit that's going on because Manny Pacquiao brought something different to the table. This is why Manny Pacquiao's the only guy at the PBC willing to step up and fight Terrence Crawford. So it ain't the same. But go ahead, though. Smoke. Go ahead.
I asked if he was a PBC fighter because we all know that he's had a long career, right? So I was wondering if you guys classed him as a PBC fighter. What about Lara? Do you think Lara fights for legacy or does he just fight for money? What about J-Rock? Does J-Rock just fight for legacy or does he just fight for money? I'm not quite sure. It seems like you guys are talking about specific guys, and instead of talking about those specific guys, you want to paint the entire PBC with the same label. Well, so why don't you, if you're talking about Charlo, then Charlo, whether or not he wants to unify at middleweight, does that mean that Jermell Charlo doesn't want to unify at 154?
You think? Go ahead, because I don't want to cut you off.
Right. So like I said, and I think that you guys are overlooking it. The smaller weight classes, not only do they have the smaller weight classes have a lot of hurdles. One of the ways that you actually get to make noise in those smaller weight classes that don't get the traditional sign of the money division, the glamour divisions, is that you unify. That's how we know the only reason why we're saying Terrence Crawford is pound for pound anything is because he unified at 140, because he's undisputed at 140. It's not because of what he did at 147 or what he did at 135. It's the fact that he unified at 140. That's what you have to do in those lesser publicized divisions. That's what John is doing now.
Hold on, let me get this right quick. Look, so Terrence Crawford is being called pound for pound, not because what he did at 140, Smoke. You're wrong there. That's 100%. That's 100% incorrect. Terrence Crawford is being classified because of what he done in his entire career. You can focus on just 140, but he's a multi-division champion. So that's just not at 140 because 140 is only one division. So it's collectively what he's done his entire career. Now, when you look at guys like Charlo, collectively, what the hell has he done his entire career? J-Rock. See, this is the difference, Smoke. See, you can sit there and try to mix words up and twist shit around. We're not focusing on certain guys, but you have to talk about the most popular guys, the guys that's doing the most, the guys that's the most famous in that network. Okay, so when you talk about the Islandi Laras and the J-Rocks, no, these are not the guys that everybody's talking about. Who they're talking about in the PBC, they're talking about the Tank Davises. Never unified. They're talking about the Deontay Wilder. Never unified. They're talking about both Charlos. Never unified. See, we're talking about the guys who are being talked about. Who the hell is talking about Law Smoke? Who?
No, really. What are you doing is talking about the guys that never unified. All you're doing is talking about the guys that never unified, man.
Because I'm gonna continue this to talk about the other guys on the other side of the street that have unified. Which are the guys that Boone just brought up. The Illinois, the Crawfords, the Canelos, the AJs, everybody outside of the BBC. And what he's saying is this is what will expose the bullshit they're doing. And I'm just saying that you can't expose, it's like what Fred Barbershop did to Al Heyman. What are you going to drag this man's name through the mud? His name is already mud. So you can't expose something that's already obvious. They ain't doing shit. The popular guys at each network, when you go to network, Laura, is Laura all over the TV cameras? Is Laura all in the freaking social media? No. But of course, you would bring that bullshit up to make your point. But it don't work. So
because you said PBC fighters, and these are all PBC
no,
fighters.
No.
Hold on a second. Let me finish. When you say PBC, then it's all of the fighters. And when you say PBC champions, it's all of the champions. And some of them have unified. So if you want to say that the PBC champions don't unify, then that is not correct. If you want to talk about the guys that you want to talk about, then just talk about those guys. To treat the entire PBC means that you are actually shitting on all the guys who actually are unifying.
Okay. Now
Let me finish.
Now that you finish with
let me finish. I'm not done. Spence is one of their biggest stars. He is unifying. He just finished unifying.
Right.
And not only that, Thurman was the unified champion also, and he was one of their biggest stars.
Right. Okay, you finished now?
Yes.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's this thing with Tank Davis? Y'all need to keep the same energy that y'all got with Crawford with Tank Davis. The same energy y'all got with Crawford. Keep that same energy with Charlo and Canelo. Because this bullshit y'all saying about Crawford ain't fought a real 147-pounder when you got Danny Garcia, a PBC fighter, who turned down $3 million to fight Adrian Granados for one. Then you want to sit there and say that Crawford has to fight a big-time welterweight when Tank Davis ain't fought a real lightweight. Jamal Charlo, excuse me, Jamel has fought a real person in his division. But Jamal Charlo has yet to fight a real 160-pound fighter. He's fighting dudes coming from 154. He hasn't fought one real 160-pounder that's a real threat to him yet. Gervonta Tank Davis has yet to fight a real legitimate 130-pounder, 135-pounder. The only credible win you can give Tank Davis is Pedraza. That's it. When you call out Lauren, say all them other names and all that, but who is Lauren now? Lauren ain't nobody in boxing. Now, he's pretty much, you might as well say, he's a stepping stone. You might as well say that. Because ain't nobody talking about fighting Lauren. Ain't nothing in it for your legacy with Lauren, in my opinion, if you ask me. Because ain't nobody rushing to fight Lauren. Ain't nobody saying you got to fight Lauren to get this person. Why ain't nobody telling Tank Davis you got to fight Luke Campbell to fight Loma or Teofimo? Why ain't nobody telling Tank Davis he got to fight Richard Comey before he gets a Lomachenko fight? Why ain't nobody telling Jamal Charlo he got to fight Derenchenko or he got to fight Bubu Andrade before he gets a Canelo fight? Keep that same energy that y'all putting on Terrence Crawford with all these other PBC cats. That's what I'm on. And the way that they going about it, the way that all these fighters are going to top rank and are trying to fight the best, they're trying to fight the best. PBC fighters, aside from Pacquiao, are trying to fight the best. And and Sean Porter. I give Sean Porter credit. And Sean Porter will fight the best fighters out there. I give him that. But there's nobody on the PBC side, aside from Sean Porter, Manny Pacquiao, and possibly Adrian Broner, that is willing to step in there with anybody and risk taking a loss on their record. Everybody else is scared shitless of the top competition. I'm waiting to be proved wrong on this.
That's to you, Snow.
I'm saying is Arthur Beterbiev? Is he scared? Is he not trying to unify, not trying to be the best? Can we add him to the list also? I don't understand how if Spence is trying to fight Pacquiao, who has a belt, that's not him trying to unify and trying to be the best.
Mm-hmm. Money fight, dog.
Wait a minute. You bugging right now. Who did Monster Nui just fought?
Nonito Donaire.
Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Like, who is AJ clamoring for right now? What heavyweight?
He's not clamoring for anybody.
Bullshit. He's clamoring for Deontay Wilder.
Before the Ruiz fight, he said he doesn't want to hear about the Wilder fight, but now he's clamoring for it.
Why would he want to talk about Wilder when he's getting ready for Ruiz, bro?
I didn't say he's the one who said he's clamoring for it. I didn't say he was clamoring for it. I said he's not clamoring for anybody.
Let me answer this question, Boo.
Go ahead.
Smoke, see, you like to try to take things and twist it out of context.
Okay. Please provide the context.
Bro. Mute yourself or something. What Anthony Joshua said and the interview he was talking about, and I put a video up about it. What he said made perfect sense. If he has a fight in front of him and Deontay Wilder turning down 120 fucking million, he said it that I'm not going to entertain that conversation right now. And he said I might not entertain the conversation after I go in here with Andy Ruiz. Okay?
There was no might not. He said Canelo might not.
Look, let me go ahead
sorry.
and mute you because you ain't gonna keep cutting me off. Look, bro.
What's that?
I didn't mean to put him out. I meant to mute him. This is the thing.
I'm on mute. Go ahead. Say your thing.
Anthony Joshua was talking about the nonsense of keep talking about a fight that those guys are not trying to sign for. What is the point of him to keep talking about this? He has a huge fight trying to get his belts back in front of him with Andy Ruiz. And so he said, I'm not going to entertain that conversation. It's no need for it. Now that he's taken his belts back, there's a need for that conversation. There is a need for that conversation now. So it makes perfect sense that he talks about it now.
Okay, so Wilder doesn't have a fight coming up.
Listen, bro. What does that matter? He's still
because I don't understand what you're trying to say. I don't understand what you're trying to say. Okay. Because I make you said AJ.
Like I said,
AJ is clamoring for a fight.
This is the thing, Smoke. You watered down the whole scenario that Boone put up, and it's point blank. If this is nonsense, because what's going on at the PBC, if this scenario was going on at the PBC, where the PBC could potentially have four champions that will go for the undisputed, we would not hear enough of your mouth or all of these PBC numbers mouth. And it would not be watered down the way you just watered down what Boone said, because it's happening at top right. You wouldn't have thrown in there you got a Nui over there at top right doing this, and you got this, and you got AJ trying to. You wouldn't have done all of that. But you immediately ran to that bullshit because it wasn't the PBC, or I guess you felt that it wasn't shining the best light on the PBC. No, it's going to cause them to put fire under their ass, period. Get up, get out, and get something.
Oh, okay, so listen.
Smoke, I ain't fucking finished, bro. So chill out. And try to talk about better be at this. What is going on at 175, bro? What is he unified against Vosdick? He did that, but what's going on at 175 right now? You know, Canelo's gonna vacate that belt. I think he did already. But let's not act like guys are all around in the PBC going for 4-belt undisputed. Wilder's holding this shit up. Errol Spence is holding this shit up. And I'm a Spence fan, so don't sit here and tell me he's not holding it up. These guys are not holding those fights up. They're going after it. Josh Taylor going after it. Anui going after it. Loma going after it. Crawford has gotten it. So with the PBC, this is the fire that needs to be put under their ass. Go get it. Start with all of the politics, this side of the street, the A side, B side, every freaking reason but to make the damn fight happen. And it shouldn't be watered down what's going on over there at top right. I don't even like Bob Arum. I don't. I'm biased, and I have had so many debates about Bob Arum. I can't stand Bob Arum. But the reality of it is it's great. It's huge. It's massive. It's nothing like that watered down explanation you gave and then tried to defend the PBC for what fucking Islandi Lara is doing. Come on, bro. Stop that.
Well, I mean, if you guys didn't have to reach so far and make this whole thing about PBC versus Top Rank and all this stuff, then we wouldn't be here. But really, listen. Okay, hold on. Anyway, ESPN. I pay for ESPN Plus. Okay, I pay for ESPN Plus for boxing specifically that I got specifically for Terrence Crawford. Just so we can kill this whole. I'm trying to downplay Top Rank to upplay PBC. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. I actually let me right. I'm just saying that when you're saying I'm mischaracterizing and twisting and all this stuff, the way that you are presenting this argument, it's a this versus them. And what I'm seeing is guys I'm seeing the best fighters in the world fighting the best when they have the opportunities to. You don't like Pacquiao Spence, but you know what? That is actually a unification. You can say it's a big money fight. You can say it's not, it's all glory, no cash, whatever the hell, like whatever you got, whatever Top Rank's got going on for them, that's great for Top Rank. I don't need for my boxing to be homogenous. I like what's going on with PBC. I like what's going on with Top Rank. when they have the best fight. I'd love the World Series of boxing. This is about boxing. It's not about any organization and trying to one up each other. For me, that's y'all.
It's not us, because again, you watered it down. This is
I want to know
something
what he said, because what he said wasn't it's not the way that I'm experiencing boxing. It's not the way I experience the PBC. If that's the way you experience the PBC, is what Tank is doing and what Charlo is doing and what Wilder's doing. That's everybody in the PBC. That's the way
and
you
what
experience
Spence is doing.
Right, but Spence is unifying and trying to unify more. But you don't like all this is about.
Nobody said that. You putting words in my mouth. You putting words in my mouth. I never said I didn't like the Spence Pacquiao fight. Don't put words in my mouth.
Great.
I don't play that shit.
Great. Awesome. Who said that I was talking about you? You just
I didn't say that either.
I know. Well, great.
Panel, but nobody said that but your ass. Cut that shit out.
Well, then why was we talking about Spence not unifying then?
I didn't say that he didn't unify. Nobody said that, bro. You see, no, bro. Miss me with that shit. Don't come in here with that shit. Don't come in here with that shit.
Hold on for a second, Boom, because I just put Smoke on backstage for a second. And you can stay back there. I'm going to let you back in, Smoke. But this type of shit you're not going to do today. I ain't even going to allow you to do this dumb shit today. First and foremost, no one said anything having any revocations toward Pacquiao and Spence. That means he will be getting a third belt. So you can cut that bullshit out. What you are not acknowledging is how great. See, if this was happening at the PBC, and it's just this simple, you would not be talking about what Lomachenko is doing, what Monster is doing, what AJ is doing, what Canelo is doing. But now that we're shining light on Top Rank for what they could potentially accomplish, you have watered that down, bro. You can mix it up and switch. You watered that shit down because you immediately start talking about, well, Islandy Lara and Errol Spence, and it's just as simple, bro. Errol Spence, my guy, Errol Spence, ducked Terrence Crawford.
Period.
He ducked him because he said that he was going to go to the negotiation table after he won the WBC belt. Now you sit up here smoking, you say, oh, well, y'all trying to make a point that the other guys are trying to make the best fights. That's because they are. Manny Pacquiao is a great fight, but the best fight is Terrence Crawford. And if you don't realize that, it's you that have the fucking problem. Now that's just Errol Spence with the 2 belts. These other fucking 4 guys, both Charlo twins, Tank and Wilder, no cigar, bro. And don't even sit here and act like they're trying to do a damn thing because they're not trying to fight Santa Cruz. Wilder is fighting Fury. That ain't fucking unifying, bro. I love Fury. That's my dude. And I want to see the fight because Fury's going to take his belt. But that ain't unifying. To unify, he fights AJ. See? To unify, he fights AJ. Forget about it. He ain't doing shit. Now, Jermell Charlo was talking about going to fight J-Rock, but we're going to have to see it to believe it. What's going on with Jamal Charlo? He ain't even responded to the $7 million deal, and it was a rumor that everybody about that. He's trying? He's trying to unify? This motherfucker trying to do everything but unify. And these are the most popular, biggest names, most talked about stars. So we're not going to sit here and talk about no damn Islandy Lara because they're not talking about Islandy Lara. They're not fanboying Islandy Lara. They're not taking Islandy Lara and making him into some super duper hype job. But they're doing that to Tank Davis. They're doing that to Charlo. They're doing that to the other Charlo. They're doing that to Deontay Wilder. They're doing that to Spence. So when we talk about these guys, let's talk about the guys that's being talked about. Like the Anui, the Lowe, the Josh Taylor, the Canelo. Let's talk about those guys. Don't bring no fucking Islandy Lara to the table and try to talk about what we did. That's called watering it down. Now come on with your bullshit.
All right, I have a couple questions. First off, am I going to be allowed to finish a thought, or am I going to get interrupted and kicked in backstage? Because I don't need this. I really don't need this. First off, I would say you're the one who brought up Spence, and then when I start speaking on Spence, this other guy jumped in and said I didn't mention Spence. Okay, So listen, am I talking to one
My
person?
name is
Am I talking
Boom, bro. My name is Boom.
Great. Are you going to keep interrupting me? Hey, why don't you take that now? Why don't you keep that guy in the backstage and have him stop interrupting me so I can finish the thought? First off, like I was saying, whatever, dude, whoever it is.
My name is
Anyway, great, good for you.
Respect my name, bro. Don't do that shit. Don't do that. I won't let you take shit up in the respect my name.
No, why don't you kick
my
that
name
guy
is Boom, bro. Don't say the other guy. My name is Boom.
What does that do with my point?
My name is Boom, bro. Give me that.
You ain't even saying it. Say it one more time. What's your name?
Boom.
Huh?
BOON. Boom.
Oh, really? Good. Who cares? Now, can I finish my point?
Okay, yeah, finish your thought, but boom.
Thank you.
You can't really hear what everybody talking.
Like I said, I was about to say the only reason why you're even throwing Spence in there is because he didn't fight Crawford. And you interrupted me to say all this stuff. If you want to go about Top Rank versus PBC in these fights, can we throw Canelo out of this whole conversation? Because Canelo is not signed to either one. So forget about what Canelo's doing when it comes to PBC and Top Rank. Don't have anything to do with anything.
See, Smoke, and I had to put you back behind stage again because this is shit that I'm telling you I'm not going to allow, bro. I ain't allowing this dumb shit with you today because we ain't going to go around about in circles. Nobody made it a Top Rank. What he said is Top Rank, and all of the zone he mentioned, Matchroom he mentioned, he said all of the things that these other networks are doing. Will that expose the PBC? So what I ain't gonna let you do, Smoke, is you turn this into a Top Rank PBC thing because you changed the context of his initial statement. That's what I keep telling you. His initial statement was exactly Top Rank, the zone, Matchroom boxing,
PBC, all of them.
They're doing to accomplish. You made it about PBC and Top Rank. And I ain't gonna allow you to make it just PBC and Top Rank and then change this whole fucking narrative to a fact that DT3 Boone and I are trying to make it a Top Rank PBC thing. No, you're getting it twisted because if you would have listened to his initial statement and not try to dissect things and put it on one thing, then we wouldn't have come here. So we're not going to come here.
That's why I don't like you.
All the other networks, everything that they're doing collectively and how they're going after legacy versus this one network that is not doing that. Go ahead, Bo. Go ahead.
No, that's why I don't like Get This Smoke because he don't talk boxing objectively. You know what I'm saying? I speak about all boxing. If PBC fighters was really fighting legacy fighters, like if Danny Garcia stepped up, fought Terrence Crawford, win, lose, or draw, he stepped up, I give him respect. If Keith Thurman stepped up and fought an Errol Spence or a Terrence Crawford or any other top welterweight to win a belt, I would give him his respect. No problem. That's not an issue for me. You know what I mean? My thing is these PBC fighters are only fighting maybe once or twice a year, and they're fighting dudes that are 1 or 2 weight classes below them instead of fighting people that are actually their size. They're not stepping up. They're not fighting the best. They don't have the same energy with Tank Davis, who is not a world champion at 135, but they're putting all that energy into Terrence Crawford, who is a world champion at 147, and they're telling him that he got to jump through all these loopholes and fire hoops and all that shit. But Tank Davis is yet to fight a true 130 or 135 pounder. Jamal Charlo is yet to fight a true 160 or even a 168 pound fighter. So until I see that, I'm on their head. And you can't say that they're doing this, they're doing that, and they're fighting this person. What true 160 pounder Jamal Charlo has fought? What fight has he fought to put him in position to say he's earned a Canelo fight? None. What position has Tank Davis put himself in to get a Lomachenko Teofimo fight? Has he fought Richard Coleman? Has he fought the Luke Campbells of the world? Has he fought the Jorge Linares of the world? No, he ain't done that. So why are y'all giving Terrence Crawford all this heat for being world champion and doing everything that they said he couldn't do, and he did it, and he still got to go through fire hoops, but y'all had that same energy with Jamal Charlo or Tank Davis? That's not fair. That's not real in boxing, man. That's what I'm saying. And I feel that with Inoue going to Top Rank, Josh Taylor going to Top Rank, those are all legacy fighters. They don't fight. They don't really fight just for the dollar. They want to fight the best to see what they're made of. You don't see Jamal Charlo doing that. You don't see Tank Davis doing that. So what's really going on? That's what I'm saying.
What's up, Unbiased Boxing? Talking to the building. What's good with you, fam?
What up? What up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's up, Monkey Kung Fu? I see you out there. Appreciate you coming through, my man.
What's up,
ahead.
Bias?
What up? What up, Boone? Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. So it's good news that Josh Taylor signed the Top Rank. We're gonna get undisputed. You know, everything you said previously in the last live that I caught, man, is all facts. You know what I'm saying? Bob Arum is the one bringing legacy to the sport again. You know what I'm saying? PBC seems to just want a star build. There might be some fighters that want legacy, but they're not achieving it. Now, we could say Deontay Wilder has his 10 title defense. You know, that's you could say that's part of history. But that's not, to me, in the sense of like legacy, that will be, you know, in the books. You could bet on that. You know, his defenses will count. But in totality, the PBC is not really doing what Top Rank is doing or DAZN is doing, you know, bringing unifications to the game. Besides, you know, Porter versus Spence, you know, some people might want to classify the normal WBA belt and the super WBA belt being unified, but I don't look at that because that's just foolishness to me. That's just sanctioning bodies, you know, playing the game. So yeah, but yeah, man, I agree, you know, 100% on what you're saying about Bob Arum right now. We both know he's a snake. We know what type of person he is, but he's bringing legacy to the sport and fights that matter. You know what I'm saying? Not money grabs and all the other bullshit.
And that's the difference. Like we see a lot of people, and I'm glad you came up here on Bias. First off, let me shout out Jamar Alvarez for coming through. What's up, bro? He said Tank Davis didn't even fight Burchell. Ain't that the truth? And then my man Hector Rivas just stepped in the building. Hector having a good time. He laughing. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's just like, listen, when Unbiased, I'm glad you came up here because Unbiased and we have fun with this boxing talk, bro. And we have fun with this boxing talk for real. And Unbiased and I have been into some, Unbiased, 35, 40 posts back and forth about Bob Arum. Like, we literally have. And so, but at the same time, even though I was that much against Bob Arum, if the man is doing something, you gotta praise him for it, bro. You gotta praise him for it. It's just like Hitman Boxing says, you know, nobody is above criticism and nobody is below praise. You understand? Like, if they deserve it, you gotta praise it for them. And what Bob Arum is doing or could potentially do has to be praised. It cannot be watered down. We can't talk about, they're doing this and that. No. It has to be praised, bro, because ain't nobody else doing it. And the PBC don't have a fucking shot in hell at doing it right now. If you look at even a lot of these other networks, none of them got a chance of doing this right now. 4 guys, 4 belts undisputed, none of them. Not DAZN, not Matchroom, not Golden Boy, only Bob Arum. And that shit has to be praised and not watered down at any level, bro.
Well, who's watering it down? Smoke?
Man, of course, Smoke was watering.
No, how did I water it down? What did I say? What one thing? What did I do? Anything did I do to water that down? Name one thing.
First off, Smoke, I'll let you speak first on it. Okay, I'll let you speak first on it.
And I said they had the best work, and I said they have the best fighters in the world on top of it.
Yeah, you said they had the best fighter in the world, and that's cool. I guess that's okay. And then,
that's what I said.
Okay, right, that's what you said. And then when Iron Cone came on, and he brought up a point, then you came back. Well, to add to that, we got guys at the PBC that's trying for legacy, and then you started.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Listen, bro. Listen, you got a problem cutting off, bro. Listen. After Iron Cone came on, that's what you did, bro. You started talking about how this guy is doing this guy is doing that, and you tried to go outside of the context because we were talking about the popular guys, and then that's when we started going back and forth. Because when you try to pump up what these guys at the PBC doing and hold what the PBC doing does not match up with this shit, bro. It don't. That's watering it down. No matter if you look at it like that, I can guarantee you that every fucking body in the chat and my other two dudes on this panel see it as you watering that situation down, bro. Period, bro. And that's what you do a lot of time. Because just like I said, if it was the PBC, you wouldn't hear nothing about Smoke talking about, well, Lomo's over here doing this and Canelo's over there doing that and AJ's over here doing this and Anoy's doing this. You wouldn't hear any of that. You would be in total praise of the PBC and you would be in total defense of them having 4 guys to go 4 belt undisputed. That's what's called watering down, Smoke. I mean,
okay. So this is now the second time I've in the middle of my thought, I've been interrupted and then booted out. For the third time, I'm only in here because I also find it fun to talk about boxing, but this kind of stuff ain't fun to me. This is just rude and disrespectful, for real. So if we want to talk about boxing and get my ideas and what my perspective is, I'll gladly share them with you. But I actually don't like being interrupted and having my opinions mischaracterized and misquoted, or having the record rewritten. Okay, right. If you need for me to be quiet because you want to obliterate me mid-thought, okay, fine. I guess that's what entertainment is. But I really would appreciate if I could finish an entire thought. And maybe we wouldn't have all of this back and forth going back. I will tell you what I appreciate about the PBC, and the only thing I appreciate about the PBC and the challenges that I see, if that's what you actually want to know. What I appreciate about the PBC is that they offer free fights. Ever since I've been a fight fan since the early 70s, I saw free fights on TV. That's what I like. I also like the fact that they've empowered fighters in a way that traditionally and historically fighters haven't had, and they've been exploited. And some of my heroes, I ended up having severe health problems and being destitute. So the PBC addressing those two things, I really appreciate that about the PBC. What I see what the problems with empowering the fighters is that now we may not be getting the fights we want to see when we want to see them, or maybe not at all. But we don't know because the PBC is only 5 years old and it hasn't happened that we didn't get the fight at all. However, when you talk about these other organizations that you now want to compare to the PBC, I have seen fights that I wanted to see never happen. So excuse me if I'm not gushing all over the place because I don't treat unification, or I don't value unification the same way you do. There's some fights I want to see that are unified. I want to see unification heavyweight, and I always appreciate a good unification, sure. But some weight classes, they require unification for anybody to care about. And if you want me to go do backflips off of the little guys unifying, I mean, knock yourself out. I'm not hating on what you like. I'm just saying that that's the business of boxing. Those divisions that don't have the shine that the bigger ones have, this is what they got to do in order to make noise. This is what Masa Inoue has to do. It's what Terrence Crawford did. And when you're saying it's not the same thing, Terrence Crawford, see where Terrence Crawford was on the pound for pound list before he unified at 140. It's not just about his entire record. It's about like all of this stuff is how these guys get to market themselves and also demand more money and also make boxing history. It's not just one thing or the other, but you guys are trying to make it like it's one thing or the other, or that the 4 guys at the PBC is indicative of everybody. You're making like 4 guys are indicative of everybody on the PBC. And to me, that does a disservice to everybody in boxing, not just the PBC, to fans, to people who listen, to everyone. Now I'm done.
Okay, well, these 5 guys that we are talking about are the guys who have the chance at the PBC to do these things. And then when you sit there and you talk about some little guys, well, first off, Floyd Mayweather popularized the 147-pound division. So we will go down from there because 147, 160 where Charlo at, heavyweight where Wilder's at, they don't qualify for your little guy.
Let him finish.
Hold on, bro. No one said a fucking thing when you talk. That's why I put your ass backstage. Nobody said shit that time, bro. So don't sit up here and get all in your feelings because I put you backstage. And then you turn around and do the same exact thing, bro. Chill with that shit. Now, with the PBC guys, the guys that we're talking, those are the ones that overhyped. They're supposedly the big shit. When you talk about this little guy, what the fuck is the Santa Cruz? Is he doing what Lomachenko and did he do that? Don't fucking sit up here and try to act like these guys are not doing shit, bro. They're not doing shit. And you can blame it on, oh, well, it's easier for them to do it. Well, why your little guys ain't doing it? Why they not? Go ahead, Unbiased.
Right. B, also, like, it's not even the fact that he said that if we want to jump and do backflips for the smaller guys and unifying, well, you know, the smaller guy had the fight of the year in Inoue versus Donaire. So it's not us doing backflips. It's the sport of boxing recognizing the weight classes you say that don't matter. Which, again, that really, I mean, if that's your criteria of you just don't like the smaller weights or whatever it is, but the rest of the people that watch the sport clearly do, because if they didn't, he wouldn't have won fight of the year. You know what I mean? And also, Inoue is chasing legacy. A lot of people in the sport and the are taking heed to that. So you can't, no matter what weight class he's in, he's exciting to watch. So people are clearly watching him. So you can't try to tear that down by saying, oh, he's in a smaller weight class. And Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez is going to be a really good fight. And a lot of people are clamoring and can't wait for that fight. And that's at 140. And going undisputed, no matter what you say, is majority of boxers' main goal. A lot of them. They want to become a champion. Then they want to be the guy at the division. And most of them say, I want all the belts. You know what I mean? So, again, no matter how you look at being undisputed, boxers and a lot of fight fans want to see champions fight other champions.
Okay, so I think that you guys are mistaken what I'm talking about when it comes to just the plain facts of the sport of boxing with my opinion about the sport of boxing. So let me clarify. When I say glamour divisions, I mean welterweight, middleweight, heavyweight. Those are the glamour divisions. Lightweight sometimes has some great fights. You can get great fights in every weight class, but those are not the glamour divisions in the sport. And so when you're outside of the glamour divisions in the sport, you have to do what you can to make noise. And there's good fights in all throughout boxing. But that doesn't mean because Monster Inoue had a good fight with Nonito Donaire that all of a sudden the super bantamweight division's on fire. Like they just had a fight. That's it. It's. I think that there's actually forget that. If you guys feel like fighters at the PBC should be doing something else, and there's something about the PBC that makes them not do these things, then fantastic. If you're saying that it is because they're making money, then knock yourself out. I'm not going to feed their families. So I'm not going to be all bent out of shape about it. I don't care about belts the way that you guys care about belts. I care about the fights and the fighters. So to me, I don't care that Tyson Fury doesn't have a belt. To me, he's the best guy to fight. So to me, that's a legacy fight, regardless of he has a belt or doesn't have a belt. That's just what's up. And not only that, that's not only just to me, but that is actually the history and the tradition of the sport of boxing. Not just a proliferation of belts. And if he has a belt, that means it's a unification. So therefore, Trump, like, to me, that to me is padding your resume.
Okay, so to you, so that's just your basis opinion. So Tank Davis is a lightweight. Am I correct? Correct. Does Tank Davis not bring some glamour to the lightweight division? Does Lomachenko not bring some light to the division? Yes, they do. Are they bringing people to watch the division? Yes, they are. There have been plenty of bantamweights in the past years that have been all-time greats, and they're all Hall of Famers. So for you to say that lets me further know where you at. Okay? So keep that same energy when you want to say that the heavyweight division and the welterweight division is the glamour division of boxing. Like, that's the only thing people are trying to see. When, to be honest with you, and I'm not a Tank fan by no means, but Tank has brought Tank and Loma and Tiafimo and Devin Haney have brought all eyes to their divisions. So for you to shit on the little guys, because I'm a little guy, I'm a 35 pounder, I fight at 135. So I'm a little guy. So for you to shit on the little people, like we don't bring no heat to the table, you tripping. Because there have been, you can't say that about the Prince Hassim Hameds of the world, the Marco Antonio Barreras of the world. You can't say that about them. Because they brought flame to the lower weight classes. Okay? Throughout the history of boxing. Okay? We, me, D, unbiased, black, everybody, we don't deal in the realm of just our opinion or what we think. We also go into the realm of facts. So I would like to hear more facts from you than just what you think and your opinion.
I think that you are maybe there's some sort of disconnect because there is a famous guy in the division doesn't make the division a glamour division. That makes that guy
I said
whatever it
four
is
different
represented by
people.
that guy.
I said four different people. I said four different people. I didn't say one person. Don't mishear what I said.
Okay.
Bro,
So
please don't cut him off, bro. Please
so
don't.
and regardless of each and every one of those four different people, like I said, because those guys had fights then, or that Monster Nui has a fight now, doesn't make that division a glory division, a glamour division. It just doesn't. But whatever. If we can talk about the semantics of that separately. Just about the facts of something that you said. You said that that Danny Garcia turned down $3 million to fight Terrence Crawford, to fight Adrian Granados. When the offer was made, the Granados fight was already made, and the guy who released that offer said as much. So you want more facts? Those are more facts for you.
Okay, well, F those facts, because that's just another way to pull on who that shit is irrelevant, bro. But why don't you answer this? Craig Smith just says, so if it's not about the belts, name a Hall of Fame boxer that wasn't about the belts. And you answer that to get this smoke.
Okay, again, when I say not the only thing I was talking about when it's not being about the belts was about unifications. When it comes to unifications, it's about who you fight, not just the fact that person has a belt.
Okay, so let me just say this. All right, now when it comes to unifications, obviously that is what is clamored in the sport. Like fans want to see another champion face another champion. Whether we believe, hey, that champion is that good or not, we still want to see the other guy go and beat that guy and get the belt, and then unify with the other guy. Like that's how the sport is being ran today. We want to see champions face other champions, and the whole like clamor division and all that stuff, like that's fine. That's how it was in the old days. But if you look at today in the sport, the middleweight division, when Golovkin was on top of the division, it was boring. So it wasn't a clamor division. Like you can't think like the 70s and the 80s, because that's not in the year that we live in today. Like the heavyweight division, if we keep it a stack, it's not a clamorous division. Like, so like let's be honest with ourselves. Like we stopped living in 1980. We're in 2020. Like there are some good fights at the heavyweight division, but it's between four people. Just like the four people at 135. Just like the how many fights at middleweight can we really be like, oh yeah, that'll be a fantastic fight? And they'll all include Canelo, obviously, right? At 168, how many good fights are there, right? So at 154, how many good fights are there? So you can't keep thinking about how it used to be. In today's date, there's not that many great fights in each division, in my opinion, but there are some really good ones. And most of them have to do with unifications.
Charles D. What's good, Charles D? Go ahead, Smoke.
Yeah, so just a couple things. When the heavyweight division isn't popping, then the welterweight division is. If the middleweight isn't, then it's one of those three things where we get our pay-per-views from. It's not like we're getting those from the 179, the light heavies and all that. We're getting it from the traditional glamour divisions. That's one. The other part of it is part of this whole unification thing is there's loopholes to it, and there's shortcuts to greatness. You mentioned two guys, Loma and AJ. Both of these two guys got unifications off of vacant belts through petitioning and sanctioning body. Is that greatness? Is that something?
Well,
Is that
who
legacy?
mentioned two guys? I didn't mention any name. I just went through the division.
When they're saying top, we had this whole thing about all the unified champions. Loma was brought up, and so was AJ. They're saying that these guys are going, and Loma's going to be a 4-belt champ. Once he fights Teofimo Lopez, one of those belts that he got was through petitioning and fighting for a vacant title. Does that mean that now he's the best fighter on the WBC? I mean, if you want to go there, sure. And I get the marketing of belts and the marketing of championship fights. That's even contractually what these networks are doing with these promotional companies. They make sure that you put on championship fights. I get it, but because that's the money part of it, these are marketing tools. They're not just glory tools. They're also marketing tools for money. And that's what I'm saying is you guys seem to be making a distinction between legacy and money that it may be greater than actually is there.
No.
So wait. You think that it was better for Danny Garcia to fight Adrian Granados and not exercise his right as the number one contender to WBO to fight Terrence Crawford to become a 2 or 3-time world champion? You think that was a smarter move to turn down $3 million and a chance to be a champion once again to take a lesser opponent and less money?
All right. Well, who said he made less money? Like I don't know how much he made.
He did make less money, bro. Don't play with me. I know he made $1.2 million to fight Adrian Granados. He was offered $3 million to fight Terrence Crawford to exercise his right as number one contender in the WBO, and he turned it down.
He said he
to take $1 million.
And he said he made $3 million against Zelensky or something. I'm
talking about Adrian Granados.
Great.
The fight where he ducked Terrence Crawford.
How's he ducking? He already had the fight. He was already.
He ducked Terrence Crawford. He ducked Terrence Crawford to fight Adrian Granados.
All right. So right. So I got it. So the other part, Tank is at lightweight. He's had one fight at lightweight. Is he going to make his whole legacy from one fight at lightweight? No, he's not.
And that was for a vacant WBO.
I got it. Listen, and to me, that is a completely acceptable step up fight for your first fight in a new
division. You didn't answer the question. You didn't answer the question. What's the question? The question was, you don't consider that a duck on the fact that Danny Garcia is the #1 ranked contender in the WBO. He can exercise his right to fight Terrence Crawford, which he has the right to do. He turned down $3 million. It is factually proven. Google it. If you don't want to take my word for it, Google the shit. Do your own research. Okay? He turned down $3 million to fight Terrence Crawford to fight Adrian Granados for $1 million.
So
what do you say about that?
Like I already said, the Granados fight was already made before Terrence Crawford offered him $3 million.
Where's your source? So I can check it.
The same guy, Tom Loeffler, the same guy who's your source for the $3 million offer. When he made the offer, he said,
"Hold on, bro. Let him talk, bro. Because this dude will start whining about."
Well, that's the primary source. Because let me tell you this: the primary source for all of this information about this offer is Tom Loeffler. That's the guy who disseminated this. And wherever you heard it from, fine, that's where you heard it from. But the primary source for this is Tom Loeffler, who said when he gave the offer, Danny Garcia already had a fight. It just hadn't been announced yet. Which they announced 2 weeks later.
Yeah, Boom. Not Boom. Smoke. Fucking trash that, bro. Talk about it hasn't been announced. Now, we always, the fights has to be announced. If the fight ain't fucking announced, he could have took that fight. He ducked the fight. And not only that, when you go back to, let me read off Monkey Kung Fu. Shout out to you, Monkey Kung Fu. Monkey Kung Fu says, in my opinion, American boxing is oversaturated with blood-sucking promoters and prima donna fighters, drawn out negotiations, and endless posturing. Got everybody fighting nobody. Exactly. And Smoke, again, bro. Again. Everything Boone said, he just laid it right out there for you. And you went south again.
Okay, so I don't know how you guys square what you just read with this whole like, hey, look at what Top Rank is doing. So either what that guy said is full of shit, or what you're talking about with Top Rank is full of shit. Which one is it?
This is the one it is. What you talking about right now is full of shit.
Okay.
Now,
okay, I got it. I got it.
Can I
you
say
want
something
all
real
sign? You want every kind of way. I get it.
Go ahead, unbiased.
Okay, I just wanted to respond to the whole glamour division thing that Smoke said, and he brought up pay-per-views and stuff like that. So just in today's day, if you just look around, in the sense of pay-per-views, have we really had good pay-per-view fights? Like Tank is about to fight a Leo Santa Cruz on pay-per-view. That does nothing for his legacy at all. Keith Thurman versus Manny, that was a pretty good one. Spence versus Porter, that was a good one. Wilder versus Ortiz, that did nothing for him legacy-wise besides the 10 title defenses. And yeah, I mean, what other pay-per-view did we have? Like, and when you think about like glamour divisions, I'm talking in the sense of like the fights that actually like matter, the fights the fans are clamoring for, like Spence versus Crawford. You know what I mean? Like Josh Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. The fans wanted to see that, and now we're gonna get it. That's the whole thing. Like, and you better listen. Let's be honest here. If Bob Arum had Spence, Crawford, Danny, and Porter, they would have all fought, and Thurman, they would have all fought each other already. Just that. They would have all fought each other already. Because that's Bob. Don't try to he don't get in the way of shit. Like he'd force them to fight, and the shit would be on pay-per-view. Then let's be honest.
If Eddie Hearn had them, they would be fighting already.
Easy.
So now we're saying that Bob Arum hasn't or made sure fights didn't happen.
Nah, we didn't say that.
No, nobody said that. Nobody said that at all. Okay, I'm just trying to figure. Nobody. Well, that's what you heard because you don't fucking listen.
I heard no.
No. You asked a question, so I'm gonna answer this shit for you. No one fucking said that. That's what you took, and your perception. You implied that. So now talk.
No, I want to make sure that that's not what you're saying.
Well, that ain't.
Because now my next question is, what makes you think? Since we can all agree that Bob has a history of stalling out fights or making sure fights don't happen between his own fighters on his own network, how are we going to say definitively that all these fights were going to happen?
Well, let's just look at his track record now. Bostic versus Beterbiev just happened, right?
Okay, but the track record now, PBC guys are fighting each other too.
Lomachenko versus Lopez is about to happen, right?
Right.
Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor, that's about to happen, right?
Right.
Terrence Crawford went undisputed, right? 140, right? Okay, so we could take what he's been doing now and just look at it. Now, if he had those guys, he would have made them fight each other and put it on pay-per-view, most likely.
Well, Manny was over there when Terrence Crawford was doing his thing, and you know what Bob said about that fight, right?
No, we know what Freddie Roach said about that.
No, we said what Bob Arum said about it. Bob Arum said we did. I know. I'm telling you what Bob Arum said about it because we're talking about Bob Arum right now. Bob Arum making fights, right? So what Bob Arum said was he made sure the fight didn't happen because he was afraid for Manny's health. That's what Bob Arum said.
Well, that's the same thing. That's the same thing that Manny's team said initially about Spencer Crawford.
Yep. There you go.
Okay, but you guys want to talk about what Bob was going to do. So when you talk about what Bob was going to do, you just got to saying Bob would have had them fighting. You just got to saying Bob would have had them fighghting. So now that we're saying that Bob would have had them fighting.
Wait. Hold on. Because Smoke's trying to now just single it out to Bob Arum. But then now we could talk about the simple fact that Manny Pacquiao is with PBC and he's saying the same shit about Spence and Crawford.
Yeah,
I thought Spence. I thought Manny just said he wants Crawford and Spence in 2020. Saying the same thing.
No, he tweeted out their names. That's it.
Yes, in 2020. What does he want to do with them? Like, was it start a sewing circle?
No.
Let me say this right quick because once again, that shit ain't gonna fucking work, bro. It ain't gonna work. Let me make sure my volume right because when I get hyper, my volume ain't right. Smoke, It's just as simple, dog. And I said this before this call out by Manny Pacquiao. I said Manny can keep calling out these guys, but his team doesn't want him to take these fights. His team don't want it. It don't matter if his team don't want it at the PBC or if his team don't want it at Top Rank. You can sit here and try to blame Bob Arum for the same exact situation, but you're making it about a Bob Arum thing right now. And then you'll go about 10 minutes of ranting on, talking about how we're trying to make it about Arum versus Canelo. And you're turning it to that right now, or at least attempting to, but we ain't going to allow you to.
So really? Please tell me. Right. So when we're talking about we're just talking about glamour visions and the quality of fights, as if that has anything to do with whether or not the division is a glamour division. But anyway, all those fights that you're talking about were PBC fights. That wasn't not one mention of a top rank fight. And Top Rank did a pay-per-view, but it wasn't a good fight. I'm not the one saying. As a matter of fact, every single question that you put to me and every time you characterize me, it's as if I'm some sort of PBC apologist. So I don't understand how now you're going to come and want it the other way and say it's me that's trying to make you guys single out these organizations.
No, that's what you just did.
That's what you did, bro.
That's what you guys keep asking me about it. You guys literally keep asking me the questions. In these contexts,
quiet.
Of these organizations.
You brought up Manny Pacquiao. You were the only one that brought up Manny Pacquiao. You did that. Right? Okay, so hold on. You brought up Manny Pacquiao. You brought up Manny Pacquiao. You yourself. You did that. Okay, so now what we are trying to tell you is Manny Pacquiao said the same shit about Terrence Crawford, and then he went to PBC and said the same shit about Earl Spence. So that's why we're saying you can't use that against Bob unless you want to use it against PBC. Now, Manny Pacquiao tweeting Earl Spence on Twitter and Terrence Crawford doesn't really mean much to me because his team already came out and said that they're not looking for hard fights for Manny right now at this point in his career. Do I believe Manny Pacquiao would take those fights? Of course, he's a warrior, but his team is not going to make those fights. They're looking at a Mikey Garcia or a Danny Garcia. That's just those. I mean, that's just the facts. Like,
I think you guys are either confused about what you want. I think you want to criticize the PBC, but also not talk about the difference between organizations. And either you're going to compare the organizations or you're not going to compare the organizations. When you say the guys would have fought if they're on Bob, and then I point out how when fighters are with Bob, he himself stalls out fights. How is that not germane to what the hell it is you're talking about? I don't know that you know what you're talking about at this point.
No, you don't know what you're talking about because I said that Bob would have made those guys fights. Now, we all know Bob already stated that he gave Manny Pacquiao a contract to fight Crawford. There's videos of it. You can YouTube it. And Bob also said, hey.
Okay, now we need links. Because I can put.
Okay, that's easy.
I'm finished, dude.
No, that's easy. That's what I'm gonna keep doing because we quiet when he talk, but then he'll start that cutting off shit, but then cry about the cutting off shit. So when he starts,
the shit's on. It's on YouTube. Like,
go ahead, bro.
It's on YouTube. You could literally YouTube it. And they asked him, hey, what about Crawford versus Manny? And he said Manny doesn't want the fight. Like he said that. And then he also did say that he stopped the fight. But as we know, Bob has a tendency to 1 minute be telling the truth and then 1 minute be lying about something. So we never know what the actual story is, but we do know that Freddie Roach came out on video and said we did not want that fight for Manny Pacquiao. That was his trainer at the time, and that he said that. So, I mean, you could pick and choose what storyline you want, but it doesn't change the simple fact that Manny Pacquiao was such a star at that point in time that they're only going to make winnable fights for him to prolong his career. You know what I mean? They really thought that Thurman was, the easier of the fights, especially coming back off of the injury and not looking good versus Josecito Lopez. That's why they took it. And now they're looking at Mikey or Danny. I mean, that's just where he is in his career. And they might fight Spence in the future only because of the car accident, in my opinion. That might happen, but I don't know. Like it might or it might not happen. We don't know. I'm gonna go with no until he looks a little more vulnerable.
Yeah, no, what you just described.
Hold on, real quick before you go. I'm gonna let you guys. Just wanted to respond to somebody in the chat real quick. Justin, not right now, because this is strictly one of those grown men conversations. But I've decided, Justin, that there's no fucking possible way that I can deal with you and Smoke on the panel at the same goddamn time. So, in a little bit, bro, just stick around. Put your thoughts in the chat. I'll let you get up here after we finish this particular discussion.
Can I ask Bias a question real quick? I'm Bias. What do you think about Tank Davis getting a Leo Santa Cruz fighting another 26-pounder when Gary Russell Jr. been calling for Leo Santa Cruz since Jesus was a pup, and he can't get that fight, and they just give it to Tank out of nowhere. And Gary Russell Jr. is an actual 26, 30-pounder. What do you think about that?
Before he answers that, though, hold on. Before you answer that, Smoke, get your thought out. I want you to get your thought out because I interrupted him to tell Justin what I did. Let him get his thought out. Go ahead, Smoke. I don't want you to forget.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about. I think what Unbiased said is more along the lines of what I think, and that is, I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to legacy and money. Like these things are intertwined. 1 minute it's about money, the next minute it's about legacy, depending on the fighter, depending on the circumstances.
All right, go ahead and answer that question from Boone Unbiased. And nobody trying to shit.
Yeah, not even. Yeah. Okay, Smoke. Anyways, look. So, my thoughts on that. You know what I mean? Look, Tank to me. I think that he's going to be the type of fighter that I think is going to defeat himself. He's not a talentless boxer. I think he's talented, but he's just not serious about the sport, in my opinion. And that's kind of dangerous at the same time. But he's not fighting anybody that can, get him into that kind of danger, anyways. But for Leo Santa Cruz coming up, I believe possibly coming up to 135, or Tank going back down to 130 or something like that, for a pay-per-view fight, I think it's fugazi. You know what I mean? Because Floyd was out here saying, "Oh, we can't fight Gary Russell because he's not a 130-pounder, but you're gonna fight Leo Santa Cruz." Like, come on, man. It's just stupid.
Right.
It's stupid.
And that's an example of these guys not chasing the legacy, And it works twice in that situation, because not only do Floyd make those dumbass excuses about Tank, but Leo Santa Cruz ain't fighting Gary Russell. So it actually works twice in that situation. But of course it's hard to understand what we're talking about. And this is not to you, Smoke. This is a general statement. Of course it's hard to understand what we talk about here at the UGC, NBBC, IBFP if you're not willing to accept those things. And for the people that's not willing to accept those things, then of course it gets confusing. They can't understand what we're talking about. They get lost in translation because the truth confuses them. You know what I'm saying? The truth don't line up with the bullshit narrative. So wait a minute, I'm confused here. So that's just.
I just don't understand, like, the money and the legacy intertwined when you got guys like Crawford versus Ndongo. That wasn't a money fight, right? But that was undisputed, right? And that's legacy. Like Jose Ramirez versus Josh Taylor. I don't think it's going to be a big money fight, but it's going to be a legacy. Okay. You know what I mean? Maurice Hooker
I can explain it. I can explain it to you. I can explain
Jose
it to
Ramirez.
You explained it, Smoke, after you finished talking, bro. Like, you cried because he was still talking when you interrupted him.
Sorry. My apologies,
bro. That's why I keep putting you. Don't get mad at me when I send your ass backstage for that.
I was talking when you did that.
I'm just saying, like, Hurd versus Laura. That wasn't a big money fight, but it was a unification fight, and that's legacy, right? So there could be legacy that's not a big money fight. Those things sometimes are not intertwined, like you just said.
Right. That's right. Smoke. That's why I can't have you and Justin up here at the same time, bro. Because if I say, hold on, unbiased, unbiased stops. If I say, hold on, boom, boom stops. You You keep going and keep going and keep going. Therefore, I don't have to put them backstage because they will stop. You won't, bro. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, the thing is, because you keep telling me to stop when I'm talking. Meanwhile, you let both of those guys get whatever the hell they want off their chest.
No, I
yeah,
don't.
you do. You haven't interrupted. Okay, whatever. What you stop them from doing is interrupting. But when they're actually making their thought, you just let them have their thought.
Okay. Go ahead, Smoke. What's your thought, bro?
Okay. So when it comes to legacy and money, there's plenty of fight. Like, what do we? Rumble in the Jungle, right? Muhammad Ali coming back. It had any number of things. There's all sorts of legacy implications for both fighters, for the stakes of the fight. But one of the things about that fight, also part of the legacy of the fight, it is still the highest grossing boxing match and the most watched boxing match in the history of tracking boxing matches. Right? So legacy and money are intertwined in any number of ways. Sugar Ray Robinson was the first guy to market himself as the richest fighter in boxing. Joe Louis had to give 10% of his purse up. It was supposed to be for like 10 years, but it wound up being for his entire career. Money and legacy are intertwined in any number of ways all the time. Even today with AJ, why we're talking about like why we don't have an undisputed fight is because this whole A side and this who makes more money.
All right, let me explain something to you, bro. You can put it on top
Wait,
of it.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead, Alvarez.
Okay, so he went all the way back to the old days, and then came back to 2020, and only managed to mention one unification fight that would be about money. So I mean, listen, again, that's why I said you gotta leave 1980, 1970 alone. Like we're in 2020. Get with the times. Like we want to see champions fight champions. Not every unification fight has to be on pay-per-view or has to be a big money fight. Like that is bullshit. Like we can have a unification fight without it having to be this big drawn out, I need 60-40, I need this, I need nah, fuck that. 50-50. It's a unification fight and let's go. Now if you're gonna bring up heavyweights, okay, I understand. AJ is clearly a cash cow, and that is a big fight. So yeah, you could say that, but that money is attached to that fight. But the names that I listed before, you didn't counter those names. Why didn't you counter those names? Because money is not included in every legacy fight. Like I said, it's not always intertwined.
Yeah,
and every fighter doesn't really care about the money aspect as much as the legacy aspect. Hence, Lomachenko, he does care about his money, but when Teofimo won, I didn't think he was going to take the Teofimo fight. He said himself, now if he don't take the fight, I'm gonna be on Loma's ass. But he said that he'll see Teofimo in April. So that tells me that Loma really wants to be undisputed. He's not really worried about money because he got money. Anthony Joshua obviously ain't worried about a dollar. He got money. So, I mean, he doesn't fight because he needs money. Floyd Mayweather wasn't fighting because he needed money. Fuck him talking about, I want that check, I want that check. Yeah, that's what he got to sell because he's money Mayweather. But he really wasn't fighting for the check like that. He was really fighting to solidify his legacy. He was already well off financially. So not every unification fight or any fight for that matter is always about money. Some fighters actually want to fight the best to see what they are made of, and the money will come later.
Right. And so, just like shout out to my man Tim W. Hope you're feeling good, Tim. Tim said, if you fight for legacy, you will have tall money. And that's a good statement, Tim. And see, this is the thing. Here's another thing. I just want to add on to what Boone was just saying there. These guys that Boone just listed out there, this is where the PBC fighters, the ones that we're talking about, not no Lara and all of these other ones you want to mention, but the ones that everybody are talking about, the Tank Davis, the Wilders, this is where they go south. And it's why it's not intertwined the way you're trying to make it seem intertwined, Smoke. Just like Tim just said, if you fight for legacy, which I pretty much touched on this earlier too, the money will come. It'll be tall. The thing is, Canelo, Floyd Mayweather, Anthony Joshua, these guys that Boone just listed off, they've already done those things to bring themselves to the height of doing what they do now. But you can't have Tank, who ain't done a fucking thing, trying to run around and move like Canelo. You can't have the Charlos, who ain't done or proved a fucking thing, trying to run around and move like Canelo. You cannot have these guys trying to run around and move like the Floyd Mayweathers of the world, because guess what? They ain't put the motherfucking work in, bro. You gotta put the work in to move that way. And so it's not intertwined the way you're trying to make it seem intertwined. If you do the right things, you will get paid. It's like something that I say in business. It has nothing to do with sport, but it's the same concept. When you're in business, you don't chase the money. You chase the success of the business. Because if the success of the business, if you achieve that, guess what comes? The money. Because when a business is successful, you make money. So when you apply that to a boxer's career, if you chase the legacy, which is the success, guess what will come? The money. Do you think Pretty Boy Floyd got to be Money Mayweather by not achieving? Do you think Pretty Boy Floyd got to be Money Mayweather by doing what the fuck Tank is doing? No, sir. Do you think Pretty Boy Floyd got to be Money Mayweather by getting a belt and then fighting a no-name, low-level opponent at a lower weight class like Charlo did? No, sir. No, sir. So once you go after the legacy that's not intertwined, smoke, the money will come along. But these guys that we're talking about, they're like turning down the legacy fights with the money. Say like Charlo, who was just offered $7 million, where he could acquire both legacy and money. Fight Andre, unification and money. And since he's not doing those things, like he's not now, you can't move like fucking Canelo and Floyd and them, because they don't want to do the things it takes to move like
that. I know what you think. My definition of legacy and Canelo. What your idea of what I was saying is, because what it is you're talking about has nothing to do with what I said. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that had something to do with what I said was you saying that it's not intertwined the way you said the way I presented it to be. But you didn't even address the way I actually presented it to be. But okay, they're not intertwined. Legacy and money, they're not this, whatever. They're different things. You can make all kinds of money and don't have anything to do with your legacy.
Right.
Cool.
So, okay, Smoke. Like you just that's why, bro. I don't think me or Boone or Unbiased or anybody in the chat is really moved by any of that bullshit that you just said right there, bro. It's not about what we're trying to. Hold on, bro. Don't do that. It's not about what we're trying to bring your presentation as, or whatever the fuck you was talking about. It's the way you come off, bro. You put these things in context, and then when we come back at you, you try to shift it. You try to argue.
I didn't switch anything, man. I gave you examples, and you said I didn't give you enough examples. You're like, oh, you only mentioned 6 fights. How many would you want me to?
Okay,
36 fights? Like, no, I'm not done. How many fights would you like for me to? How many fights would you like? I mentioned 6 fights, but instead of actually addressing the substance of what I'm saying with the 6 fights, you tell me it's not enough, and that I'm living in the past or something. Like whatever, man. You can have whatever opinions you want. You want to have this history and tradition that's untethered to the actual history and tradition of boxing? Fine, do that. You want to make things up as you go along, like today is the first day of boxing? Knock yourself out. However, it's not the first day of boxing, and boxing has a history and tradition, and that's what I'm speaking to.
All right. Well,
okay,
are you done?
That have a history and tradition that.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
let me just say something to him, Boone. So yeah, that's why I said, in 2020, you had one fight that you referenced that legacy was attached to money, right? You said AJ Wilder, that's it. Now, again, you could live in 1980, 1970, fuck it, go all the way back to 1940, where some of the black boxers weren't allowed to fight the white boxers. You want to go all the way back there? Is that like, there's absolutely no point of that. Talk about now. Okay, talk about the fights, the unification fights that we're getting that are not money fights, that are not being stalled out because they want to be on pay-per-view and all this other shit that, let's be honest, the PBC is doing. Okay, it doesn't.
Okay,
It doesn't
I'm
have
talking about
to
now and
be.
then because I
All
can.
fights don't have. All unification fights and legacy fights don't have to be on pay-per-view. It's simply that they don't have to be big money fights. And in 2020 or 2019, we got unification fights that were not big money fights. We did. So again, like a legacy and money are not intertwined in 2020 and 2019.
Right.
Even
And let me ask you, let me ask you a question. Get this, man. I'm gonna ask you a
hold on,
question.
wait, hold on. Let me just finish.
Okay, wait.
When Laura and Hurt, what year did Laura and Hurt fight for that unification? Wasn't that like 2017, I believe? That wasn't a big money fight neither. So I'm just saying in general, unification fights don't have to be big money fights.
And
hey, when I mentioned Laura, I couldn't speak about it. We weren't talking about Laura. That's what I'm saying. I actually, there's so many people on the panel with different opposing views. With you guys don't even agree with each other. So I don't know how I'm supposed to make some sort of unified.
whoa, bro. I agree with somebody, bro. Don't falsify shit on me. Like, don't say my opinion, bro. Speak for yourself.
Great.
Don't do that shit.
Awesome. Somebody told me I couldn't mention Laura when you were talking about PBC fights.
I didn't say you couldn't.
Glory.
I just said he was valid.
Right. Okay. Well, then it was D that did it. So
I said
he can speak up for it.
Yeah, I said
great. But the point is, one of you guys did. That's my entire thing. Is that I'm trying to say, but when I said it, it got totally thrown out. It's not like you spoke up. No, there wasn't no context. When it was me saying it, when it was me saying it, it was a problem. But when it's you saying it, now all of a sudden Boone agrees. But anyway, whatever. That's why you don't agree with what I'm saying, because you just don't agree with the fact that I'm the person who said it.
Okay. No, hold on. Let me. That's bullshit. Okay. That's a complete bullshit what you just said. Because what I referenced, and in the context that I referenced it in concerning Laura, they did agree with me. Because we were talking, I said you can't bring Laura into it because we're talking about the top guys. And when you make these comparisons with the top guys, the guys that matter in these networks,
Laura isn't one of them.
About that, and they didn't disagree with that. I don't think anybody in the chat disagree with that. But once again, you say Once again, you say shit like that, and then think you're proving a point, but you ain't proving shit, bro.
Okay, so then who's changing it? Because at first you said PBC guys, now it's top PBC guys, but I'm the one changing it. What you do is change it when you're.
No, I'll cut you out and put your ass in the backstage because that's total bullshit.
My question.
Let me clear this up because you're trying to go back and do that dumb shit. Yeah, you get mad and leave Smoke, but this is what he keep trying to go back and do that dumb shit. I cleared this up earlier. The context of what Boo said was not about no one fucking network. He said all the other networks out there. You kept going back to this one network, one guy thing. If the context of what Boone said is the popular, the fighters that people are talking about, the champions that have a chance to do it. What the fuck does Laura have a chance to do? See, this nigga always trying to move the goalposts, bro. So that he can keep just going back around into the circle, bro. And then you want to got nobody gonna let you. I ain't gonna let you keep doing that shit on here, bro. If you in the house now, because Smoke gone, he probably ain't coming back. Well, go ahead, Boo.
Well, my question was out of all the promotional banners, what fighters have the most fighters saying that they're not finna fight guys because they don't produce the income?
Exactly.
Who stable is saying that? What stable is not fighting dudes because you don't have enough clout? You clout chase. Who are saying that? What stable is saying it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But
I don't need you at all.
The dude just goes left. But again, man, like Smoke has become easier and easier since I'm biased or not. We done figured his ass out about a month ago. After we figured it out, man, like, man, I see what this dude keep doing, man. Like, it's so easy. Because, see, like, you made a open statement, a total point. And what he did basically was try to focus on one aspect of that point, debunk that, and then make make it seem as if everything you said didn't make any sense. But then he took out of context what you said. That's why I kept stopping him, bro, because he took that shit out of context every time from your initial statement. And then you even asked me the question first, and I said that my idea is this. It's not exposing them, because this is where it all started from. You was like, are they getting exposed? Are the other networks? This is exactly the question that Boone asked me on Bias. He said, are the other networks, and what they're doing with their guys to get them to fight for legacy, will that expose the PBC? That was the initial question. Smoke started making it this one-on-one shit because he took what Unbiased said and he changed the context of it. And then he tries to say that we're doing this and we're doing that. Bro, that shit ain't gonna work here, bro. That shit's not even gonna work here, dog.
That's his go-to. He'll filibuster. He likes to filibuster and say things. He'll interrupt you, and then he'll try to switch the topic real quick so you forget what your train of thought. That's how he works.
Right.
And most of the time he'll contradict
one little thing that you said. He'll focus on one little thing that you said and then try to turn it into an argument about that. Like, bro, no. Let's stay on the whole topic. Like, you're not gonna switch to start talking about why Dillian White, why Wilder's not ducking Dillian White. When that's not what Boone had to do with. But if somebody makes a statement into that, he'll move to that. Well, how you gonna sit here and say that Dillian White is ducking Wilder? No. Let's get back to the whole point here. That's what, bro. He's switching the goalposts, and then he'll want to, fuss about it. Like, bro, you're not gonna confuse us. You're not gonna confuse none of us on this panel, especially that motherfucking Unbiased. That motherfucker is almost like a computer remembering what the fuck you said. Some shit I said before, and I was like, "Damn, did I say that? Yeah, I
so what do you think about that question that I asked? Since you wasn't here, or you probably was, you just wasn't on the panel. But what do you think with Top Rank Shine in new ways of the world and the Josh Taylors with the opportune moment to make a Ramirez-Taylor fight, and the winner of that fight will be undisputed in a possible fight with Terrence Crawford? Do you believe that with what Matchroom and what Top Rank is doing right now will expose what PBC is doing with this fighting once a year, and they're fighting dudes that are 1 or 2 weights below their particular weight class? What do you think about that?
I honestly feel like they've been getting exposed. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably the wrong person to ask about that, because I feel like they've been getting exposed to me. You know what I mean? Because people have been complaining about Tank fighting lower competition, guys coming up in weight. It just seems to be like the whole game plan over there. Danny's fighting Ivan Redkach. Hurd is fighting whoever. I think he was a welterweight, and then Jamal just fought a guy from 154. So I mean, it just seems to be the whole game plan over at PBC. Try to fight Hispanic fighters, grab the Mexican fan base, and just pretty much do what Floyd did with less work and lesser opposition, kind of thing.
What up, Justin? Smoke says we crazy. Hell nah, nigga. That's the thing. When you talk about crazy people, Smoke, since you're in the chat now, and this is probably better right now that you're in the chat. But when you talk about crazy people, that's usually the people that's outside of the norm. They're doing shit that the normal person don't do. Like when you go on the subways in New York and you see somebody in the corner doing this shit, like they're the crazy ones. But the thing is this, Smoke, all of us here, we are like mind. Motherfucker, you're the crazy one. Like all of us, we see it clearly. Everybody in the chat, we see it clearly. You the crazy one, nigga.
Like how he don't respect IBO and Floyd Mayweather, Lennox Lewis, and the Evander Holyfields of the world have held those belts, but you don't say that, you don't give it the proper respect. All I wanted him to do is say, yeah, I respect that. I see where you're coming from. He purposely is creating an argument when there is no argument. That's my issue with Smoke. You always making an argument when it's really no argument. You just trying to talk just to talk, like some bitch shit, like you on some female shit. I ain't with that. And I'm gonna call it out every time.
What's today?
Smoke is crazy. This dude said that AJ didn't get hit and he just dropped to the floor voluntarily because he had plans on quitting. And then he said he voluntarily got up, but he went to the floor and took the knee because he was gonna quit. So I'm like, bro, if he was gonna quit, why would he voluntarily get up? Like his whole arguments be just dumb sometimes. Like it just be like stupid, pointless.
Yeah, you want to think we wet behind the ears and shit, like because we don't agree with you. You're not saying nothing that's worth agreeing with. I am open and objective. I'm the NBBC. I'm unbiased to the T, to all the way. So if you saying something that makes perfect sense, I'm gonna agree with you. But if you just saying shit just to create arguments just for debate's sake, bro, I ain't got time for that shit, bro.
Yeah, hey, Romanian Mike, I seen your comment, bro, but you can't be blocked, bro. I wrenched you up a long time ago, so it might be your phone or something like that, but nobody can block you. I can, but I leave all the blocking up to Boxing Monster. I don't even have to block with that nigga in the chat, man. He'll block the boot and everything else. But yeah, man. So yeah, Smoke, I think it's a good idea you play the chat for a second. It's a little more relaxing conversation. Cause man, you off the damn chain, dog. I will say this, and like I always say, Smoke do bring some excitement to the chat, bro. And you know, boom, you brought some excitement to the chat today, bro. You just sniffed a goddamn quarter of cocaine. I was like, God damn.
I don't function with dude. Like I just don't function with people that just want to argue just for argument's sake, bro. Like I don't like that. And they try to debunk you all the damn time. For bullshit though. Like when I said I respect IBO, he was like, IBO is not respected by other section of bodies. What the fuck that got to do with anything? IBO is still a prestigious belt. It's the only section of body in boxing that has one belt per weight class. So if you have the IBO belt, you are a world champion. You're not an interim. You're not a diamond. You're not a regular. You're not a super. You are the world champion. So all these fighters keep talking about I'm a 3-time world champion when you've only won 2 world titles and 1 regular. You know, it's just buffoonery, you know, to me. But I gotta go. I'm finna hop on IBFP's live real quick and put my babies to sleep, man. Thank you, D, for having me. On everything I can.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to shut this down, bro. And everybody, appreciate y'all coming out. My man Ziggy Zane, you missed it, Ziggy. You gotta goddamn go back and watch some of this, man. We had a good one here today, Ziggy. No doubt, but I appreciate you coming through, bro. We had Smoke on here. Smoke, get this Smoke came on here and liven this thing up, man. We had a good one. Hey, I appreciate all you guys. Y'all go check out IBFP because I'm getting ready to go over there. He's on live. That man be bringing, he got that fire. Appreciate all y'all coming out. And good time, man. Like, you know, good live, Smoke. You know, much respect to you, dog. You click that link, you come up here, you add some excitement, you know. Appreciate you, unbiased. DT3, everybody that came on the chat, y'all know how came in the chat. Y'all know how I always end this thing. For the love of sports, let's talk about it. Peace.
Shit happens, niggas want me to talk about it. They love gossip, want me to talk about it. It's all over the gram, so I'ma talk about it. You heard what happened? Niggas want me to talk about it. Crazy, niggas want me to talk about it.